welcome back everyone, welcome back to something a little bit different. Welcome to the 2023 GSL Season 3 Code S Round of 8 Group B replay cast. Welcome everyone. Of course, these matches, this event did occur a couple of weeks ago now at this point. A couple of weeks ago, we were supposed to wrap up this broadcast before ESL Masters, and then ESL Masters rocked up and we got wrapped up in all of that, and ESL Masters has finally come to a conclusion, at least for now, you know, before DreamHack Atlanta. Now we have time to go over some of these GSL replay casts from times gone by. We wrapped up with Group A last week, and here we have Group B again. You may have already tuned into these, maybe watching live over on the GSL channel on YouTube or Africa, but we're here casting those replays ourselves. Exclamation mark GSL if you guys want to have a chance at actually supporting the GSL. It's really cool, but you can actually support them via Patreon with that command, and you can also gain things like replay packs. They have like player interviews and like photo shoots and all this other stuff, all these other benefits that you can get as well, other than just the replays. So yeah, you can of course support the global StarCraft League in your own way. Otherwise, we're going to be diving into this. We're going to be diving into Group B again. Last week we covered Group A, and here in Group B, oh, we have quite a number of players, quite a number of matches before us. We have 4 players coming in. 2 players will advance on into the semifinals. The format for this season's GSL was a little bit different this year. It's been a little bit different. It goes from the round of 16 into the round of 8. The round of 8 still happens to be a group stage as well, which is, again, very different from years gone by, but it's just a way to, I guess, get more games out of these players, especially with the return of the GSL group. Like, we have the winners match, losers match, decider match as well. This is something that they got rid of last year, if I remember correctly, or maybe the start of the year, and then they got some feedback. People didn't like it. it was so weird having like a quote-unquote GSL without any GSL groups. It was so odd to experience, and that lasted a little bit, but then, you know, they got rid of that, they changed the format, and yeah, feels good to have everything back here as well. So again, we're going to be kicking things off with Creator versus Classic, followed by Bunny versus Dark. Then we have the winner of said series, and we have the losers of those series, and then the decider match at the end. 5 best of 3s tonight, and we get to experience at least a bit of representation from all the races as well. So it feels good, man. We get that balance, and I'm ready for it. Again, we were able to cast Dark earlier today, looking damn in form, damn dominant as well at ESL Americas, and I'm ready to experience some more Dark later on. What I'm really excited for is Bunny. Like, you know, there's no hiding, but I'm a massive Bunny fan ever since back in the day, back when he was on CJ Entis. Big CJ fan back in the Pro League days, and yeah, Bunny, he even has some decent English. He used to stream every now and then. He has his own Discord server. Like, Bunny, he's yeah, been around. Unfortunately, he did take a step back from the game at the start of the year. He has been less active, but he's been coming back, you know, competing in GSL, you know, popping up every now and then in the online weeklies, competing, of course, in WTL. What I will say is that I'm pretty sure Bunny, he's less full-time than some of these other players. I think actually every other player, Creator, Classic, and Dark, are full-time at this point. Bunny less so. But that's also why it's been really impressive to see Bunny perform well and make it into the round of 8, into the round of 8 of GSL, despite this not being his full focus as it once was. Which, again, impressive stuff. Impressive stuff here from Bunny, but we'll see if he can go further. But before we can sink our teeth into a Bunny, we can sink our teeth into a Classic and a Creator, as we have a PvP to kick things off. Ooh. Oh boy, here we go. Again, Creator and Classic, they have been facing off quite a lot. Creator, Classic, and Nightmare, I don't know what it is about them, but in these online weekly tournaments, the PvPs are insane. We get them so often in KSL, ESL Olympic Cup Asia, and the Americas, and even in GSL, they cannot avoid each other. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Club NV. It is Creator. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the other South Korean Protoss, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And in recent times, both players have their own play styles in a lot of matchups. Creator has a very iconic PvZ and even PvT, I will say. Classic, likewise, is a little bit more akin to Hero, a very aggressive and a very chaotic player in a lot of those matchups as well. But in PvP, things are a little bit different here. We have seen both players just really spice things up early on. I don't expect this. I'm going to be shocked if we do get a mid to even late game opener here between these players. I expect things to get a little bit more chaotic early on, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, 2 gate openers. We have a 2 gate opener here from Creator and from Classic as well. In recent weeks, we have actually taken note that a lot of the Korean protocols have been adopting the Max Packs Gate Expand opener instead. But I've been specifying that's usually Nightmare and Hero. Nightmare and Hero, they've been the ones that have been really embracing that a lot more than the others. Classic has been whipping it out every now and then. We have noticed in Classic versus Hero series, we have seen a little bit more gate expands from him, but not as much as some of the others. So 2 gate openers is what we should be expecting for the most part in this series. From here, things can go into a couple of different ways. Also, what I'm referring to when it comes to the openers is that because there isn't a ramp coming into the natural, for a very long time it was considered unsafe to try to go for a more economic opener, which is why we have these 2 gate openers instead, which have become quite standard. This is standard for everyone except for Max Packs. Max Packs, of course, goes for greedy economic openers regardless of the map. And what I mentioned before is that some of the other Korean protocols have been adopting that method as well in recent times, which has been really cool. It's been really cool to see the meta kind of evolve and shift and ebb and flow, and yeah, it's been fascinating to see. As we can see between these two, though, again, pretty standard stuff right now. Just 2 gates. We have our first 2 units. It's going to be double Stalker here from Creator. We have double Adept from Classic. Classic going to be delaying his expansion a little bit further here by taking his faster second gas, and we are going straight into a Stargate, straight into, I imagine, Oracles. So hyper aggression here out of Classic is going to be across the map with Adepts as well as Oracles to get economic damage done. Meanwhile, Creator, I believe, is in the dark. Looking at his vision, he hasn't seen the tech yet. Did go for his own Stargate. A little bit later than that of Classics, but it's on the way, and we could end up with Oracles as well, or we could do something crazy and go Phoenix first. There's that Nexus on the way. Classic still just powering or just working through this pylon, trying to get his own base up and running. It's going to be a little bit later, but only by a couple of seconds. Not the biggest of deals here, not the biggest differential, as we are just building up that Adept count up to 4 Adepts, and are we going to see a 5th and a 6th Adept as well? So far, no dice. Not yet. Not yet here, as Classic is going to be moving across the map, headed towards the natural base. So far, just meeting up here with the Stalkers of Creator. Okay, Creator is becoming a little bit overwhelmed, but he does pull back. Shield Battery's finishing up just in time. He does go for a full wall as well with that 3rd gateway, and he is safe and sound. Meanwhile, we have our units of choice. No one is going Phoenix. Both players are going Oracles. And they do pass by each other, just barely missing. Again, Classic, his Stargate was a little bit faster, which means his Oracle was a little bit faster as well, going straight into the main. And where's that Shield Battery? Where are the Stalkers? Probes are going to be going down 2 already. We should be able to get a 3rd, maybe even a 4th. Barely getting a 4th worker there towards the end before getting the hell out of there. You see Classic behind this, going for his own at Phoenix. Again, he's aware of at least the Oracle. Doesn't get any damage done. The Shield Battery finishes up just in time. And Classic, he does preserve his workers. Lost 1 probe earlier, but that was a scouting probe. And so far, Classic is in a better position. We can see here, Creator, he's forced to expend his energy back at him defensively. Gets an Adept. It's something. Oh, could even almost get a 2nd Adept as well. As the Oracles of Classic, they rotate back around, heading towards that main base. They want some more damage. They can, of course, one-shot workers. Oh. There we go. 1, 2 probes go down. Oh, the Oracles, they take a lot of hits from the Stalkers, though. 2 workers for an Oracle. Not ideal here for Classic. Likewise, Adepts are going down. 2 of them will be shading. Sorry, 1 of them is going to be shading into the main. And not even. We do force a cancel, and every Adept gets cleaned up. So again, at least Creator is able to gain some value here with his Oracles. No economic damage, but he shuts down the Adepts at least, as he's trying to keep up. So far it was 7 probes for 1, or I guess it's technically 6 probes. 6 probes for 1 Oracle. It was an okay trade for Classic. He at least still has 1 more Oracle alive, so he can find maybe some more damage, some more value. Outside of that, both players are transitioning. You know, they've bounced off each other. Classic, he has a worker lead because of all the damage he dealt, and we are getting into Blink. Speaking of, Oracles do go for a big counterattack, and hey, we managed to get a couple of workers. 2 more probes go down. Creator slowly catching up. Still slightly behind in workers, but not as much as he once was. As we do see both players working towards their third bases. The aggression has since subsided. The Oracles are back at home. Adepts have been cleaned up. Now it's all about the Stalker versus Stalker, at least initially. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can deviate from Stalker v Stalker. You can head into +1 and, of course, just double down on a gateway-based army. You can try to supplement your army with robo production with Immortals. You can try to tech into Disruptors, which will be later on towards the mid-game. Once we get a 3-base saturation, there are different ways to tech up. And where are our players going to take us? But now, Stalker v Stalker is the bread and butter of PvP, and we do have a proxy gateway across the map here for Classic. We have 3 gates back at home with the proxy. That's going to be 4 gates in total. Likewise, Creator, just now working on his own 3rd gateway, so he's going to be down in the production. And Classic, he's pushing out. So while Creator invests into a 3rd base, Classic is investing into his aggression, into his army, into his production. And we're moving out. Okay, the Unisab Classic, he is slightly ahead in Stalkers. Has a stasis trap set up as well, is taking his 3rd base much later than that of Creators, as Creators is about to finish up. And we can dive into the main! No! We dive into the main base, but the stasis trap was ready, and oh my god, so many Stalkers get caught out. A big blunder there by Classic, and no idea what he was getting into. We clean up the remaining Stalkers. We do take another stasis to the face for Creator this time, but for the most part, he does come out on top. We can see he's getting ready here to just pounce on this army, getting ready for another stasis trap even. Ooh. Once again, half the Stalkers do get caught out. And again, a big cleanup here for Creator. Oh my god. Just completely shutting Classic down. Classic wanted to be the aggressor. Remember, he delayed his 3rd base. He threw down a 4th gateway. He wanted to be in the face of Creator. But not like that. Not quite like that. Looks like the Oracle may get picked up. No, not even, as, yeah, we are forcing a recall. Another Stalker is not going to go down. Oh, big stasis trap into the natural, by the way. Classic, he's not taking this lying down. He does manage to get some counter damage done, but that was still a big blow to the army. Classic down heavily here in Stalkers, down in economy, of course. The stasis trap is helping evening things up. But here we go, Creator. He is now going for his own counterattack. That Oracle threatening, thinking about another stasis trap. There's no shield battery. No shield battery here at the 3rd base. No overcharge. No Immortals. Just pure Blink Stalkers. And again, Creator, he is down in that Stalker count. Does have the defender's advantage. Is going to be looking to chase down Creator. Up. Gonna get 1. Does get 1 Stalker here in the retreat. Up. Gets a 2nd. Creator a little bit late to blink. At the same time, though, it looks like a couple of probes did go down. Another stasis trap in towards the 3rd base. Only catches 1 probe this time, but a couple of Stalkers. And, oh, Creator, he's bleeding out quite a lot, actually. This time, blinking on time, does race back to the safety of a stasis trap. We have a 3rd base on the way. And both players are just doubling down here on mass Blink Stalkers. +1 in production. Actually, quite far ahead for Creator. It's about to finish up. Meanwhile, Charge is on the way, so Classic is trying to refine his army and try to pivot away from pure Stalker with Stalker Zealot. Yeah, there's going to be a big timing where Creator has +1 and his opponent does not. You can try to make use of that. You see Classic rotating around, does get caught by that hallucination. Creator knows, he rotates. Rotates over. Keeping up with the army movement here of Classic. 4th bases are on the way for both players. Charge on the way as well. And we can see Classic already working towards Charge Archon with that Templar Archives. Does catch a probe, does catch a pylon. Once again, Creator keeping up with the movement. Oracle threatening the main base. Classic doing whatever he can to try to keep his opponent at bay. Like again, Classic, he's not committing to any kind of attack. He's just rotating, posturing, picking off pylons, hallucinations, just trying to keep Creator scared while he takes up. And he's kind of getting away with it. You know, as Creator is working towards Charge, but he doesn't have a Temple Archives. Creator doesn't have access to Archons. Classic will. And Archons, they melt Zealots. So there's going to be a bit of a power spike here for Classic once he gets his Archons going. Meanwhile, Creator does catch a pylon, or does find the proxy. He's going to shut it down. Now, Classic, he's aware of the location of the main army, so we can try to make use of that or try to abuse that. Classic, he thinks about moving out, but he does pull back in the end. And for the most part, both players are looking to max out. God, that's a lot of Zealots. And this is why it's so important that Classic, he has his Temple Archives done. But where are the Archons? Where are the Archons? With this many Zealots, we're going to need them. How many Zealots in total? We have 25 Zealots here for Creator. That's a lot of Zealots. And like 2 or 3 Archons, they can make short work of that kind of army, but that's not what Classic has, not right now. He has the tech for Archons, but he hasn't morphed any in. And here we go, Creator, he goes straight for that 4th base, for that 3rd even. He is maxed out, so up 20, 30 supply. Mineral line's going to be going down, and Classic going to try to engage, but again, Creator, he's actually about to kick in with +2. We're a couple of seconds off, +2 is going to finish, and now we can commit to a fight. The Zealots are actually shooting through. They're getting on top of these soldiers. Classic being forced back. The Prism comes in. Not like this. Forced to come back home. Yeah, it looks like Classic is barely forcing this army back. We have a couple of stasis traps behind this army, which we want to try to bait this in. Up, up. Creator, does he see? Up. Oh, it looks like he does. He baits out the stasis trap. Nice moves here out of Creator. Shuts it down, pushes on forward here. That was one of the only chances. The only chance for Classic to hold on was a good stasis trap. Alas, it's only going to be Creator having good stasis traps, at least for this game. As he breaks through the main army, only a handful of Stalkers are remaining. GG gets called, and Creator will take game number 1. GG. That was wild. GG, well played. That was a solid game there out of Creator. Again, there were a couple of moments where I guess fortunate for him. Honestly, the stasis traps. The stasis traps were massive for Creator when Classic was trying to dive into the main base. Caught more than, I want to say, 70% of his army was caught in a stasis. Then after that, we had another follow-up stasis catching half of the army as well, back to back. And Creator just got so much momentum from that. He got got so much value out of those stasis traps. Cleaned up the army. Got away with a better economy, and we could see Creator snowball out of control towards the end there. He had, like, again, I want to say 20 more workers than his opponent. He had a much better economy, which snowballed out of control, which translated into a better army as well, or a larger army, I should say. There's maybe a world out there, maybe a world where if Classic had morphed in a couple of Archons preemptively, because again, he had the tech for it. He had the tech for quite some time. If we had a handful of Archons, maybe with a shield battery, an overcharge, and a dream, maybe we could hold on. But even then, there was just so much working against Classic at that point. In a mirror matchup, it's difficult to come back from a deficit, and with that, Creator does take the first game. But now we're getting into game number 2, and again, that still felt very much so on a knife's edge. If it wasn't for those stasis traps, we could have seen a very different game. Remember, Classic, he intentionally did delay his expansion to be aggressive. He got punished for it, but again, if there didn't happen to be those stasis traps in position, then we could have seen a very different game. And here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkyone, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Twisted Minds down in this series, looking to fight back. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player leading the series 1-0, representing Club NV. It is Creator. Creator, of course, one of, if not the only player still supported by NV. And I mean, it is really cool that they can support him, but unfortunately, from my understanding, NV, they only have the funds. NV, aka they used to be Abydos. Last season of WTL, they were Team Abydos. They only have the funds to support one player, so you know they've got Creators back, thankfully, but they did have to relinquish the rest of their team. They had to disband the rest of their team, dissolve even, and most of them have found new homes, thankfully. You know, in the dissolution of Abydos, we had Nightmare going to Maturino, we had Kior going to Team Liquid. You know, they were able to find some good homes Unfortunately, I bring this up every now and then. DRG is the one that's still without a home. He's like the only notable pro player I think in Korea that doesn't have a team doesn't have the team currently. So hopefully, like Cure and like Nightmare, DRG can find a place. Been around for a very long time, very old school player, but a very strong player as well. That's something that I should emphasize, is that by no means is he overshadowed by the rest in any big way. We have seen DRG be very active as well in these online events. But for now, hello Pylon. Pylon has been thrown down, and we are going for a one-base all-in on Alcyone. Papi, let's go. Proxy Robo here from Classic. Meanwhile, Creator, he is aware that the Pylon is missing. With that Probe Scout Creator, he is checking this mineral wall, checking to see if maybe Classic had gone to the other side to go for a Proxy Stargate. Proxy Stargates here in this position, or in this position depending on where you spawn, is very common. So Creator does check there first, and now he's racing back home. This is a very interesting location for a Proxy Robo, just because it's technically on Classic side of the map. It is still close to Creator, don't get me wrong, but it's on Classic side. So Creator, very unlikely that he's going to scout there, as he checks the other mineral wall just in case. Again, it makes sense to check these locations first. And Creator, he's still unaware as to what's happening. There it is, Immortals are on the way. It's all coming down. Meanwhile, Creator back at home going for a sentry follow-up for a bit of a scout for a hallucination. Going for his expansion, shield battery on the low ground. This is going to be a tough hold here for Creator. Adepts do not shade into the main. And this hallucination scout is going to be very important. Adepts will continue to threaten, and we should be on top of these walls. First Immortal is out, War Prism is on the way. Hallucination making a beeline to the natural, and looking at the vision here, it looks like we do confirm there's no expansion. It's a one-base all-in. Creator, he doesn't know what it is, but he knows that something is wrong and that something is coming his way. So he's pulling back, he's taking a defensive position, sentries are coming in as well. He also confirms the lack of Twilight Council, so he knows that it's unlikely to be a Blink-based all-in. Otherwise, the Twilight Council should be at home. So should recognize that it's going to be Robo-based instead. Depths, they continue to threaten that shade. Prism has arrived. Creator chasing this back, does get eyes on the War Prism. He sees! There we go, he's rotating over. Tops up his army with that shield battery. No shield battery in the main. Uh-oh. There is no shield battery. Immortals, they push on forward. So far, good damage is done by the juggling to keep the Immortals alive. We keep the other units alive as well. Classic hasn't lost anything yet. He did kill one Stalker. We have a defensive Immortal on the way here from Creator. So far, pulling back his weakened units as well. Up. Ooh. Does still lose one of his Stalkers. Oh, the juggling. As we barely keep the army alive, we do have a second Immortal arriving and a third Immortal on the way for Classic. Remember, he is completely all in with this. Oh, the Adepts, they shade in. We do threaten that shade. Creator, he does see the elevator into the main. He does have eyes on this, but the entire army gets in. Oh, a late reaction here from a Creator. Classic is looking to break on through. Sentries are going down. Where are the force fields? They're not here. The Immortal's barely going to survive. Barely does survive. The boys are being pulled, but alas, there's just not enough here. Where's the overcharge? It's out of range. The shield battery is out of range of the overcharge, or to get an overcharge. Yeah, the juggling is just too good. Every single worker goes down. Classic basically working with Blink. Does lose one Immortal. Does lose an Immortal. He's just warping into the main base. The production is too much. GG gets called. Creator has nothing left here. Only a single Immortal. And Classic ties it up 1-1. GG. Oh my god. At the start, I was like, yo, it's going to be a short series. And to be fair, game 1 was a little more back and forth. But here in game 2 is kind of what I expected out of the series. GG, well played. Classic was able to pull off that one base all in. Again, Creator, he just wasn't really set up for it, unfortunately. It took him a very long time. A very long time to recognize what was wrong and what was happening and whether or not there was a committed proxy or not. Again, just because of its location, it was just so difficult to get a read on what was happening. Also really unfortunate that the shield battery in the main base was closer to the production and to the ramp, less so to the Nexus, so a little bit less valuable. There was a little bit less, less support that it really had to the main army. And Creator, he just wasn't able to keep up with the elevator into the main. Remember, it was like 3 trips, I think. I think it took 3 trips for Classic to get everything into the main base, and again, Creator, he was just out of position. Could not stop it. Could not deny it. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We are going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. It all ends here. It all ends on Solaris. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the South Korean Protoss representing Club NV. It is Creator. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have South Korean Protoss player forcing the ace match, taking that second game, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Here we go, and Creator. Where we go? Creator going to be skirting the edge of the map here, going through the center initially, but avoiding the main attack path. And what do we have in store for us? Are we looking to commit to a forge? We're cannon rushing? No shot. Wait, what? I just assumed it was a gateway, but it was a really weird positioning back at home. It's a forge first. He's crazy. Creator. He's gonna cannon rush Classic. Oh my god. Well, Classic is going for a 2-gate opener. He's going to be leaving as well. We do have the second probe coming in, making it look like a regular probe scout. Cannon has begun, and we should be committing to a proxy gateway here on the low ground, I imagine, to slowly push our way into the main. Or are we just going to straight up cannon rush? I mean, there are no gases being taken. No cybercore potential. Classic, he's in the dark. He doesn't know. Oh my god. Creator. Pylon into the main. Classic does have eyes on this. He is wise to it. He is aware. Boys are being pulled, but the cannons are about to finish. And Classic cannot touch this pylon. Not with probes. If he tries to, again, he will just die to these cannons. So Creator, yeah, we're forcing a cancel on the second gateway. We are slowly, we're just leapfrogging forward, laying siege. Soon to lay siege upon this mineral line. Probes that have to be pulled. This third cannon is a little bit too far forward. Classic with a proxy pylon out on the map. Looks like one gateway is going to be cancelled. One cannon is going to be cancelled, but the other should be able to finish. Oh my god, there are just so many of them. Just a straight up cannon rush into the main. We're within range of the Nexus as well. There we go. We have one cancel. Oh, that's going to be a kill, not a cancel, and that's another kill as well. Oh, some rough losses there for Creator. He only finishes up one cannon in the main. That's going to be a kill on the probe. Both probes have fallen. Second cannon is finishing, but we have a Stalker. And we have a Ninja base. With this Nexus, we can recall. We can just evacuate. We can abandon the main base. It looks like Classic, he has recognized that these cannons are going to finish, and they are going to threaten the mineral line, and there isn't really much that Classic can do about it. So he's just going to leave. He's just going to accept that this base is going to be under control of Creator and just get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, Creator, he's not done. He's taking gases, and we are going into a gateway. Void Rays are on the way. Proxy Stargate. Oh my god. For a moment, I thought it was Creator with the Stargate, but no, it was Classic. That's why he canceled the gateway. Okay, main base is going to go down. Again, we do want to bunch up these probes and recall the hell out of here. Creator, he's looking for the base. He's looking for the Nexus. Nexus still about to finish up. Cybercore is going to go down. This one Void Ray could end the game. I mean, I say end the game. Could do so much here across the map. Creator doesn't have a Cybercore, no Stalkers. The only things it shoots up are cannons. We're just waiting for the Nexus to finish. Meanwhile, Void Ray going straight for the main base. 2 cannons are going to finish up, but we can try to avoid those cannons and try to take down at least some of the gas geysers. Ooh, we go straight for the cannon itself. We're going to get it. to activate the prismatic alignments. Cannon is gonna go down. Shield batteries are on the way. Pylon is exposed. Creator, he's looking. He does come across the Stalker. We need warp pins. We gotta have one Stalker. Pylon goes down. We depower the shield batteries. Depower that cyber core as well. Meanwhile, Classic was able to recall towards the safety here of this base. Creator doesn't really have the resources to go for a second cannon rush. Void Ray is coming back home. Creator now knows it's one base versus one base. Technically, Classic is ahead in tech. He does have a second Void Ray coming out. He's ahead in army. And yeah, Creator can't really do much at the moment. I mean, he can try to dance with the Void Rays. With the help of the shield battery, he should be able to fight a Void Ray head on. But when it comes to expanding, when it comes to taking a natural, that's going to be a tough ask. Here we go. The army of Classic is pushing forward. 2 Void Rays, 1 Stalker up against 3 Stalkers of Creator. Again, we have prismatic alignments, of course, in the chamber as well. Yeah, we force the overcharge. We force the prismatic alignment. We get one of those Stalkers. We could maybe get a second as well. Creator has to be very careful. Oh, down goes the gas guys. Oh, the Stalker barely survives. We don't have Warp Gate, by the way. Back at home, Classic getting everything up and running, and it feels like Classic is in control. Feels like he's in the driver's seat at this point. Creator just lost a gas geyser. Warp Gate's finishing up. He is going to have 2 gateways available. Sorry, 4 gates. 4 gates available and a proxy pylon. Can Creator turn the tables here on Classic? There is a shield battery finishing up here on the right-hand side. Can we? I think we have to commit to a 1 base 4 gate all in. Like that's the only play here. Ah, Adepts. There we go. Adepts are on the way. So 2 Adepts do one-shot workers. If they shade into the mineral line, they can just have their way with these workers. Stalkers have revealed themselves. Going to be depowering this gateway. Probe goes down. Here come those Adepts. Void Ray's a bit out of position. Yeah, we do shade in. 1 probe, 2 probes go down. And so much lost mining time. The economy dropping to 0 there for Classic. Adepts are going to be chased away. Stargate has been found. Model comes out. We're going for our own defensive Stargate here for Creator. Let's find the proxy. Gonna try to shut it down. Classic trying to vie for control of the map, but there are so many Stalkers! Up! Yo, and have we been caught out? Pylon's gonna fall. The army of Classic does get the hell out of there. Vader thinking about maybe even going for a ninja base. Be rotating around. He does have eyes on the shield battery. He's aware. Warp Prism slipping into the main base, trying to save one of these Stalkers, or trying to even kill the Stalker here of Creator. I love it. He's going around the long way to pick off these pylons, and yeah, he can do so. Without being attacked by the cannon, there is a bit of a better angle here. Pylon goes down. The cannons are depowered. Creator going for his own ninja base. This is getting rowdy. This is getting wild. Look at the army tab here. Creator, he's up to 9 Stalkers. He does have a Void Ray back at home. 2nd Void Ray's on the way. We're running out of minerals here. Classic on the flip side, going for a heavy Void Ray Immortal composition. Now, right now is when Classic is at his most vulnerable, because he does have part of his army split up here towards the left-hand side, but he's bringing everything together, consolidating his army. With 3 Immortals, I think I want to favor Classic here. 3 Immortals, 2 Void Rays, they should just have their way with a Stalker army. The Stalker should melt in a head-to-head fight. There's always potential for Creator to maybe try to pick apart this army or force field the ramp. That's another big possibility. Recalling the probes here towards that ninja base. Hallucination does spot the army. Does spot the army of Classic. And Creator, he has to hold. And it's all about those force fields. And it looks like 3 Stalkers, they get caught out. 3 of them go down instantly. 3 Stalkers for 1 Void Ray. What a bad trade here for Classic. Considering that he's really reliant on Immortals more so than Void Rays at the moment. And he does find his way up the ramp. Pushing towards main, catches another Stalker. Creator, not like this. Pylon goes down. Additional force fields as well. We don't want to overextend. We have to respect the shield batteries and the overcharge. Slow and steady here for Classic. But again, he has just such an intense army. He's going straight for the Nexus itself. And the Void Rays, they have to engage, but the base is going to fall. At the same time, we do have some Adepts across them. They're getting worker down. They're getting worker kills. We have to commit. We have to try to. Void Ray is going to be trading out. Stalker's going to be falling as well. If we can kill all the Stalkers, then maybe we can pull this off. But the Void Ray pulling back to the shield battery. Forced to recall back home. That's 10 probe kills, by the way. And Creator, he still has that ninja base. Oh my god. Okay. So Creator, he's got a second Void Ray on the way. Like, I'm feeling a win condition for Creator is that if he kills all the Stalkers, if he focuses down all the Stalkers, then Classic can't shoot up with those Immortals. But there's still just so many Stalkers here for the red Protoss. The Classic. Still got six Stalkers left. 3 Immortals, some Sentries. Now, Classic, he's aware that there's a base out there. Otherwise, we would have gotten the message that the buildings are being revealed. So Classic, he knows. Oh, and the Hallucination does find it. Classic, he does come across it with the Halluc. He knows, he is aware, and he's moving out. This is going to be the final stand of Creator. He cannot let up. Do we have shield? Oh, no shield batteries, no overcharge. Just a straight up fight against 3 Immortals. Yeah, and Classic, he should have more than enough here. As long as he focuses down the Void Rays, his Immortals can do everything else. And there we go, 1 Void Ray up is not going to go down, but the other will. And just like that, Classic is snowballing out of control. GG gets called, and Classic will survive the cannon rush and take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Classic, keeping a cool, calm, and collected head. I love that he canceled his second gateway. Remember, he canceled the second gateway so he could have enough money to not just go for the ninja base, but also go for a proxy Stargate as well, so he would have Void Rays. And I would say those Void Rays from Classic were the MVP. Obviously, towards the end of the game, they weren't as important, but they got him to the end of the game, right? Like, without those Void Rays, Creator would have had a much better economy. He would have had a much stronger kind of setup to get into the stage that we just saw. The Void Rays of Classic did so much for himself, helping to win fights, helping to maintain control of the economic situation of Creator, and yeah, GG, well played. Classic handling that very well, and Creator cannon rushing for the first time in a long time in GSL. I want to say the last time we saw a cannon rush in GSL, am I crazy? Was it Prince? Was it Prince versus Maru? Was there a time after that when there was a cannon rush? If there was, I don't remember it, unfortunately, but yeah, like Prince versus Maru is the quote-unquote latest one that stands out in my mind. Oh god, was there another cannon rush in PvT? I'm trying to think. I don't think there was, but yeah, wild. Wild nonetheless. And with that, we have our first series here in the books. Classic will take it. And now we're going to be getting ready for our next best of 3. But a shout out to Creator again. He made it close. Made it damn close. Went all the way to the ace match. Up next, we do have our other 2 players here in the group. We're going to be taking a break from the Protosses. We don't want to OD on cannon rushes and Protoss nonsense. I mean, I would appreciate it. It's beautiful, but we'll get some more after this. Classic advances on to the winners match. Creator moves down to the elimination match. And up next, we have a TVZ between Bunny and Dark. Here we go. Oh, and I need to fix this up. Alright, we're good. We are good. Again, 4 players enter into this group. Only 2 will make it out into the semifinals. And we're here to determine who faces off against Classic in that winners match. Here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. But let's go. Gotta sneeze. As SCVs are moving out, plural, because we have 1, we have 2. 2 SCVs moving out here from Bunny. I'm getting deja vu. For those of you that were here this morning for ESL Open Cup Americas, we casted Dark versus Gumiho in the finals. And fun fact, Gumiho proxy Dark every single game of those finals. Proxy 3 racks every single game, I might add. Except for one of them, where he did have 3 SCVs, but he only made 2 raxes. To be fair, but proxies nonetheless, so... Oh boy, we've already seen Dark shut down these proxies already today. Can he do it again? As the Overlords are going to be fanning out, and so far, unscouted. The pathing here is actually poised to eventually find these Raxes, but by the time they do, they will already be done. So, going to be a bit of a later scout here from Dark. These Raxes will get up and running. Now, as a reminder, it is a proxy 2 racks, not a 3 rack. So this is less committed. We can transition a little bit easier out of this as well. Into into a factory, into a CC back at home. This is designed to get damage done, yes, but not designed to necessarily end the game. As the Overlord comes in, we spot the SCVs, we spot the Marines, we're aware. We're aware of the proxy. We don't fully understand how many Raxes there are, but as the Overlord comes in, we do confirm 2 Raxes here in the center of the map. Bunkers are on the way. Boys are being pulled. We can afford to pull workers here against a proxy 2 racks. Again, because there are only 2 Marines to work with, we can try to get on top of these SCVs, shut down these bunkers ahead of time. No, we're going straight for the Marines. Up. We're going for the surround instead, and we do get it. 2 drones go down. We do clean up 2 of those Marines. We get a 3rd, and we're going for the 4th. We don't quite chase. But Lings have arrived, and these bunkers will not finish. So far, good drone control here from Dark. Losing 3 drones for 3 Marines. The Lings have arrived. They're going to chase this down even further here, going straight for those weakened Marines. Up. He gets 1. He gets 2. And he's going to get the 3rd as well. Oh, just barely doesn't get that 3rd Marine. But the SCVs fell. There's no bunker. The Queens are out, which means Dark is held. Dark, he has held. Bunny has to get the hell out of here. He did kill 3 workers, which is okay. But overall, I would say that Dark is in a better position. We needed to do more than just kill 3 drones. We needed to trade more efficiently. We needed to get a Queen, maybe even get more workers. We would have won the game if we killed the hatchery. But Bunny has to race back home. Licking his wounds. Factory done. Starport in production. Getting into our transition. It's going to be a 2-1-1. 2-1-1 here from Bunny. Interesting choice. There are some Terran players who go for a factory into a 3rd CC to catch up economically. Just to be really greedy and really economic. As we can see, there is no 3rd CC. Not yet. Bear that in mind. You know, have that in the back of your mind as to when and where that 3rd CC is going to be thrown down, if at all. For now, Darky's just droning back at home, saturating his 2 bases. Getting further ahead, working on his 3rd. Links is moving out, 3rd base is on the way, and Bunny is going into Banshees. Okay, so it's going to be a 2-1-1 build here from Bunny. 2 Raxes, 1 factory, 1 starport, but we delay medevac production in favor of Banshees instead to try to get something done across the map. Again, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Bunny to kill workers, so this makes plenty of sense. Getting into Hellions, getting into Banshees. Now, the downside here, one, the third CC is late. The third CC is delayed, so there's even more pressure on Bunny to make this worth his while and kill drones. On top of that, this also delays stim and combat shields. This delays the marine production. So the eventual bio push is going to be very delayed in favor of Banshees and Hellions. Meanwhile, Lings are flooding on in. They do manage to scout everything. Oh my god, they see the tech lab. They see it researching. We're aware that Cloak Banshees are on the way, and we even disrupt the economy. Ay, ay, ay. Bunny completely blindsided here by this Ling run by. 3 SCVs go down. And did we even get eyes on the third CC? We did, so we know it's not going to be a 2-base all-in. We know that it shouldn't be something crazy like a dedicated Hellbat push. So Dark, he knows that he's safe to drone. He's getting a safety Bailey nest, just to be safe. Spores are on the way for detection. Lair is on the way for detection, and of course the mid-game. And Dark knows he's safe to take a Lair. He's safe to tech up and drone. All he has to do is keep up with the Banshees. Here they come. Banshees moving out. Spore finishes up in between the bases. The drones. Drones are looking a bit exposed. Spore is going to be repositioning instead. Make things a little bit more awkward here for the Terran. Oh, one queen. One queen does go down. Transfuse was late. Bit of a misstep there from Dark. At the same time, Banshee rocks up at the third base. The Spore wasn't done in time. And we have gotten 2 workers. Not too bad. 2 drones have gone down. Banshee's going to be chilling here in between the bases, trying to pick up any other transferring workers. Speaking of, we want to transfer. We will. Just barely make it through. One more drone gets picked off. Bunny will have to back off as well and respect this position. Back at home, getting into his third CC. Now we have Stim on the way. Third racks, we're getting into our bio production. Getting into our 5 rack setup here on 3 bases. But overall, I do feel like Dark, I mean, he's up 20 workers. Oh, did I speak too soon? Hellions, they get in. How many leagues do we have? We barely have any. Oh, Dark cutting too many corners here. 4 drones go down. Do we shut down the Hellions? Looks like we will. Whew. That was close. That was almost disastrous here for Dark. We do have Banshees diving into the main. Again, they can one-shot workers. Spawning pool is under threat. Queens are rotating into the main. Dark droning up to 73. Oh my god. Up over 20 workers. He catches the Banshee. And this hasn't been good enough here from Bunny. This follow-up, I should say, just hasn't dealt enough damage. Bunny trying to recover. Getting into his 1-1 upgrade, stim, combat shields. He's actually moving out with his first tank. Bold move. Bold move here from Bunny, but again, he needs to move out. He needs to be assertive. Again, this push actually going to be keeping. I think this is a bit of a mistake. I think there we go. I was like, why is the medevac not with the army? It is going to be boosting on over. There may only be 1 tank, but he has to make do with what he has. Keeps his second tank back at home. Link counterattack does threaten that third base. We're pushing in. We are pushing forward. Dark setting up a surround. And he collapses on the tank. Bailey's all on board as well. Ooh, big connection on the Marines. Forcing a hub pickup in towards the main. Spores repositioning. Marines are... Sorry, Lings are here as well. They pick up a couple of Marines. Bunny able to gain some ground. The problem is he lost a tank. Now we have a second tank on the way. Dark, he's done droning. We have a token swarm host. Let's go. Token swarm host on the way from Dark. Making sure he gets involved. Lingbane is amassing. Dark, he is prepared to throw away and lose this hatchery. I don't know if he necessarily needs to. See how he does manage to engage. Just amassing more of an army. Queens, you can see they're rotating into the main just to make sure they're in position for a drop. Bunny pulls back with his tank, actually. Looks like he's expecting Dark to try to clean him up, which means Dark gets away with his hatchery. Means that he's able to maintain it for the time being. Oh, we do have a drop here towards the left-hand side, towards the south. Bunny gonna try and pull Dark apart. So far, it's working. Does drag his attention away. Here comes that mine. Up! 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 Oh, God. It's like, where are we going? Does connect. At the same time, Bunny gonna be pushing towards that fourth base. And he should be able to dive on it. Here come the Bailings. Oh, no! The reaction! Oh, my God. Bunny, he wasn't looking. One Marine survives. The Lings, they come in from behind. They get on top of the tank as well. This one Marine is going to get the base, by the way. The hero Marine. But was it really the hero because all of his brethren, they all died for not much. Bunny just not paying attention at the wrong moment. We have borrowed Bailings here towards the center of the map as well. We need to be careful. Dark may have lost a hatchery, but it was a worthwhile trade, to be honest. Like, losing a hatchery for a chunk of Marines like that, like, I'm sure Dark is happy with it. With that Bunny, he has to back off. He's racing back home. Drop has been spotted. Hive is done. Darky's been able to join up quite nicely, up to 80 workers. He's reestablishing the space. With that 80 worker count, he can now hyperfixate on his Hive tech. Ultras are on the way. Vipers, Blinding Clouds, Parasitic Bombs. We are still lacking in some anti-air. Eventually, we're going to be working towards Aspire and Corruptors once Liberators come out. Without Liberators, we don't really have to worry about anti-air. We just focus on the ground army. As Bunny is getting a fourth. He's slowly catching up when it comes to the overall supply. He's catching up with the economy. We are moving out. Now, the downside here is that even though things may look close at the moment, Bunny, because he was like limping his way here, tech-wise he's behind. He has 3-3, yes, but there's no Ghost Academy. There are no Liberators. Like, we don't really have an army that can deal with Ultras effectively. Ultras have been spotted. Bunny pulling back for a moment. Still on by a mine. Irises are on the way. Speaking of, there's that Ghost Academy now in production, but it's not done yet. Just did begin. We do need more time. And Dark is max. I don't think he wants to give him that time. We do have some mines, though. Oh! Widow mines are gonna get baited out. There's a second mine! Oh my god, big connection! Dark pulling back and not the correct Ling there. Dark gonna have to back off. Meanwhile, at the same time, a big Ling drop into the main base. We're camping the production. Dragging the army back home. Even borrowing some Lings. Can we deny the upgrades? +3 is gonna be denied. We load up, we split up all of our Lings as well. Forcing a scan at the same time. Here comes the Ling Bane. The tank! No, the tank lives! The Ling Bane cannot touch that economy. Alright, this is going to get cleaned up. We still have more scans. Finding some of these borrowed Lings. Now, what I will say, at this point, now we do see Bunny actually taking an efficient trade. He was able to clean up a lot of the army. He was able to take down some of the Bailings. Bunny, he's building up a bank. He now has Ghosts. Not having +3 is brutal, and he does have to work on that. Bunny's getting there. Speaking of Lings, they unborrow in the main. They get a Ghost. Ghost goes down. Lings, Ultras, and Bailings, they roll into that mineral line as well. They're going for the SCVs. Vipers are going to have to get the hell out of here, and that's going to be a kill on the Planetary. Didn't kill too many workers, but I spoke too soon. Oh my, the Baling drops into the third base. We have Lings here towards the fifth, and we have even more Lings here in the main as well. Everything is on fire. Bunny, he's being pulled apart. Cannot keep up. Not with Dark. It's 28 dead SCVs. Dark pushing on multiple fronts. Going to be pulling back here towards the left. You know, towards the north. Getting a cancel on the CC. Getting 2 cancels even. The Nidusins in the main. Going for a big hand. Like, we're catching more SCVs. No. And this may just force you all in out of Bunny. Make our way towards the main base. Snip's going to be going off as well. That is a large army. Like Bunny, he's got a large army to work with, but he just can't move out. The SCVs. Oh. 49. We still have Lings in the main. Nidus finishes up as well. We have an army here towards the what used to be a fourth. As Bunny's finally cleaning this up. But Dark, he's not stopping. He's not slowing down. He can get the tanks if he wanted to. He's going for it. Yeah, he goes right for those tanks. And he's going to get both of them. Bailings, they come in from the flank as well. They catch the reinforcements. They catch the army. Parasitic bombs here on those Medivacs. Dark, he is going to back up, but he gets a kill on the CC. GG gets pulled. We don't even get a move out, and Dark will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Dark, it does take the first game here against Bunny. And that was just a really rough start. It was a really rough start for Bunny. Remember, it all started with a proxy 2 racks. Or all started with a proxy that didn't really get what it needed to. It didn't trade well. On top of that, what's important is that it wasn't just a failed proxy 2 racks, it was also a delayed third base to get into the Banshees, to get into the Hellions, and the Hellions, they killed 4 drones, if you remember. They did kill 4 workers. The Banshees killed 2 drones, I want to say, but like, this is not enough. You know, killing 6 workers in total for delaying your base and for having a rough start, already having a delayed kind of follow-up here, it was brutal, and Dark was able to drone up to 80 really quickly, very quickly in the end. Did lose a hatchery, which did hurt, and eventually Bunny was able to catch up in supply, but in other aspects he was behind. And with that, Dark does take the first game. Now we're going to be getting into game number 2. Let's go. Here we go. Dark, he keeps spanking. He does. Stop proxying Dark. It's not working, Poppy. It's not working. He likes it. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning. In the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Mystery Gaming. Down in the series, but looking to fight back, it is Bunny. Hello, Dino fans. Hello, exclamation mark live. We are live. We are live. It is a replay cast, but we are live here on the Ducklings. Yet to run a rerun. One day, one day. And we do see Dark going for a hatch, a gas pool here, opener once again. Nothing too crazy. It's important to point out because Dark has been known to go for gas first builds against Terran players, but specifically on Alkione, this is a very long rush distance map, one of the longest rush distances in the map pool. It's not really worth opening up too aggressively here. It's difficult to find too much success with that, so gonna be going for a much more standard opener. Meanwhile, Bunny, his Rax, is back at home. Happy days. Rax is gonna be back at home here this time instead. Getting into his opener, and my apologies here, I believe this was a CC first out of Bunny. So a little bit more economic instead. Going for that faster CC. Getting to his gases behind this as well, going for, again, something more economic, something more standard even compared to the proxies we saw in game number 1. And we do have our SCV Scout moving out. So we're able to settle on in, and again, it makes a lot of sense. Alcyone, for those that are curious, this is a more macro-oriented map in the map pool. We see a lot of split map scenarios here on Alcyone. If you're familiar with the previous map pool, this is like the new Gressvine, essentially. You can get a very secure 3 and even 4 base setup, and depending on your expansion patterns as well, it can be very difficult to break your 5th, just because of how awkward it is to attack here towards the right hand side, because you have to work through these rocks and work through these minerals, and army movement can be difficult. So as a result, we have seen a lot of late game. We've seen a lot of like 30-minute plus games here on Alcyone, and we could even get some of that here, which I would be all for. I want it. We've had a lot of aggression so far tonight. I mean, we even had a cannon rush earlier in PvP at the GSL level, which does not happen very often at all. So I'd be happy to sink my teeth into a longer game. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have a 3rd CC for Starport, so very economic here from Bunny. Very stark contrast compared to what we saw in game 1. So this time we're not hyper fixated on a faster Starport or faster Banshee production. Just straight up 3cc. Do love to see it. Much more economic. Behind this, we're getting into something a little bit interesting. We have seen Cyclone-based openers before. Cure is very fond. Cure is very fond of Cyclone openers in a TVZ. But this is a little bit different. We're getting a bit of both worlds. Cyclone and a Hellion. Show us what you got. Thing's going to be dipping on 4. They do get eyes on the 3rd CC timing and the Starport as well. Darky sees everything in the main without even entering the main base. So a very nice Link Scout here from Dark, seeing everything he needs to. He's aware of the economic follow-up. He is not aware of the add-on swap. For all he knows, there could be a Viking or a Liberator on the way, so he's a little bit in the dark. So we are just doubling down here on additional Raxes, eventually working towards Stim and Combat Shields. So yeah, it's really a really interesting build here to still invest into these Banshees. We'll see what they can get done. We'll see if they can catch Dark off guard. Back at home, Dark doing Dark things. Roach won't. It's not like we're rushing into Roaches, but Dark is very fond of just having Roaches here to get into the mid game. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be stuck on Roaches. He can always go into Lingbane Roach Ravager in the mid game, or transition into Hydra Lurker Viper if he invests into range upgrades. There are a couple of different tech paths that this can lead you down, but just a very safe way to open up. It allows you access to Ravagers to shut down tank pushes. Yeah, Dark is quite fond of it. Evo Chambers are now on the way. Lair finishing up, just in time so we can get into Roach speed. Meanwhile, the Banshee has arrived. We head towards that 3rd base, but Queens are in position. For the most part, we don't lose anything, and the Banshee is going to be deflected. It's going to be zoned away. The game is going to be settling. Again, we already have Spores in every single mineral line. The Banshees haven't done much at all. Did we make a second Banshee? We did make a second Banshee. They're going to be joining forces here in the center of the map. We, of course, invested into Cloak. There's Roach Speed now on the way. And we should be getting 1-1. And this is a big tell. That is +1 melee, not +1 range. So this tells us that Dark isn't really looking to invest too heavily into Roach Ravager. He's going to have it to begin with, like we mentioned, just so we can survive and get into the mid game. But eventually he does want to fixate on Lingbane. So now Banshees are going to be quite annoying here, doing quite a lot of damage to this hatchery. Oh my god. An insane amount, almost getting a kill, and they may not kill this hatchery now, but this base will be vulnerable to some drop play later on. Thinking a little bit further ahead. As the Banshees, they dip into the main base, they get 2 worker kills before getting the hell out of there. There it There's the armories on the way for 2-2. Third base is getting up and running. Gases are being taken. This tells us, of course, that Bunny, he is looking to also start working towards a fourth. And he should soon be pushing. We're reaching that 7-minute mark. 1-1 is finishing up. And we should be moving out. Again, up until this point, it's been pretty passive. Bunny, he's only been harassing with his Banshees. Because of that, the creep is getting a bit out of hand. It's getting a little bit out of control. But now that we've reached the 7-minute mark, here comes our first big push. We got 2 tanks, we got medevacs, we have stim, combat shields, 1-1. It's all lined up for this first attack. Again, we're not all in by any means. We have 2-2 on the way, additional racks, additional production. This is just designed to trade and maybe break the space because it's low from earlier. Here we go, Dark coming in from behind. Big tank shot's going to be going off as well. No Bailings. The Biles going to be zoning back the army, but we're getting on top of the tanks. The Biles, they will connect. They take down the tanks, and it looks like there just isn't enough on the ground. Dark will hold. Forces this back. We do have some reinforcements. We're going to be able to make use of the choke points. 1 tank did survive, thankfully. Sorry, that wasn't the tank, that was a Cyclone. 1 Cyclone survived, but Bunny gets forced back. And with that, Dark, he holds onto his hatchery again. Bunny, he wanted to at least get a kill on this. It was low from earlier. He was so close, but just couldn't get on top of it. And now there's that Baneling speed on the way. Mentioned earlier, but again, Lane Bane, Roach Ravager. That's going to be the composition here for Dark. As Bunny is going to be threatening a drop into the main. It was just a really good concave coming in from behind as well. Just the angle of attack was brutal for Bunny. Dives into the main. He will scout the hive. Sees the researching spawning pool. Can we snipe the spawning pool? Up. We go for the queens. We go for a little bit of everything here. We are going to be forced out. Dark does force us out of the main. Out of the main base. And here we go. We have another drop towards the north. Only a single marine drop. Or a single drop of marines. We're not going to be able to threaten Dark too much here as he does hold. Only losing 2 drones. Forcing back the army. Vipers are arriving. With these melee upgrades, we could even go towards Ultras, but we have a Hydroden instead. Interesting. Very interesting. So we're going into Lingbane Hydra Viper. And eventually into Lurkers. Oh! As the drop does get into the main. Does threaten the main, I should say. You have to be careful. There are Vipers, there are parasitic bombs. Meanwhile, towards the north, Bunny trying to clear up some creep is going to be deflected. And he's just been stuck at home for a while. Again, because of his failed push, because his tank count was reset, that's the really brutal thing about the push. Bunny has been stuck at home, just building himself up. 4th base is on the way. And by the time he moves out, the problem is the Dark, he got away with an economy, and he has Vipers. He's going to have Vipers ready here for this next attack. Blinding clouds on those tanks, parasitic bombs on the medevacs, you name it. This is going to be a difficult attack here for Bunny. Catching some roaches, and some morphing in Bailings as well. Not too bad. Going to be moving out here with 4 tanks. Good chunk of Marines and Marauder. That's 60 Marines. Again, both players have maxed out, but tech-wise, Dark has the edge, and here come the Blinding Clouds. We cover 2, we cover 4 tanks, only 1, every single tank is going to be covered. Oof, there's nothing for Bunny to do. The tanks are going to be knocked down. The Bio Army, good splits, good stutter stepping even. Pulling back, we keep the Marines alive, but we lost every single tank. Bunny losing the backbone of his army. And Dark, he can just rebuild, remax. He kept his Vipers alive. They're gathering up energy as we speak. And sucking on that building. We have some reinforcements trickling in, but only 1 tank. Dark, he's actually going to give up on this base. Oh my god. Respecting the army, he doesn't want to push in prematurely. The base is going to go down. But Dark, he has another hatchery that he can, of course, transfer over to. And he's going for a big link counterattack instead. Oh, there's not much at home. There's not much at home at all. Bunny, he was so committed to his attack. The SCVs, the mineral line, the tanks as well. And Bunny, he's racing back home. In the midst of all of this, Deepers are falling. CCs as well. Darky's going for the dive. Decent connections. Decent connections on the Marines. Ling's still in the natural, still at the third base, and here comes the main army going right for the fourth. And that's going to be a kill on the planetary. Bunny just being pulled apart. And sure, Bunny, he may have killed one hatchery, this is true. But Dark, he killed a base, he got rid of a mineral line, killed tanks, and the SCVs is still going ham. Make another 5 workers. Bunny consolidates his army. We need to move out. We need to push. 3-3 is about to finish up. There is a timing. There's a window where Bunny will have 3-3 and Dark will be stuck on 2-2. There is an opportunity here for Bunny. But the Lings are dragging him back home. Once again, the army does turn back around. This is delaying the push by so much and giving Dark so much more time to build up his army. Get more Lings, more Banelings. And here we go, he's diving on the army once again. The tanks, they were late to siege. Power bombs here on the Medivacs. Would you pull back? Once again, respecting the army of Bunny. He's down to 1 tank. And we can push it once again. Ooh. Solid files as well, taking down those Liberators. The siege units of Bunny going down one after the other. But all this was losing SCVs back at home. Still only on 3 bases. Bunny's all in. At this point, he's completely all in. One way or another, he has to end the game or die trying. Dark, he's just gonna collapse on this. Here come the power bombs. We don't even need blinding clouds. There's just too much Zerg, just too much Dark, as he just swallows everything up. We have a tank on the high ground. We're trying to hold on here, but there's just nothing else for Bunny. Barely has an economy, barely has any bases left. Dark is looking to overwhelm. Even burrowing some Banelings here. Ay, ay, ay. Bunny, he's going to be able to hold on to his third. Heavily oversaturated. The vials! Again, these... Oh my god, we're getting a little bit stuck here. But the Ravagers, they have been alive since the start of the game. The vials, they connect on the Bio Army. They've been adding so much value here. And 3-3 is finally about to finish up here for Dark. We're evening up the upgrades. Viper still alive from earlier as well. What do we go for? The power bombs. Catching Medivacs. Blinding Cloud the tanks as well. And Bunny is on his last legs. Yeah, we go for a scan. Seeing the saturation on this 4th base. Scanning for extra bases as well. Bunny, has he seen bottom right? He has. He is aware. He's still committed to this final attack. I mean, hey, he's got 3-3, so he's still got a tank, Pappy. We can go. We can pick up the main, and we're taking the main as a 4th base. A bit of a desperation move, but what else can Bunny do? I mean, the other thing would be to take the gold, but it's that'd be too crazy. It's fine. We're going for a backup 4th. Barely standing strong. Behind this, there are the Lunkers on the way. You mentioned this earlier, how because we were going for Hydras, Lurkers made the logical kind of tech path here for Dark, and he's getting there. I don't think he needs it, but, you know, he's just making sure he is secure in his tech. Just in case a fight doesn't go his way. There we go. Once again, the power bombs on the army. Ooh, double power bomb on the same Medivac, but the Ling Bane, it just crashes on in anyway. We do have a solid wall of tanks, but nothing to support the tanks as we close the distance. We get on top of them. 26 more SCVs go down. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-0. GG. As we wrap up this series, a big shout to Saffron in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Ooh, as Dark does take the 2-0 here, looking damn strong. Game 1, shutting down proxy 2 racks. Here in Game 2, able to keep up here in the mid game with Bunny, shutting him down likewise as well. Again, in a very dark fashion. I do feel like a lot of the momentum started off with the first 7-minute push. When Bunny moved out with 2 tanks, he really needed to either get the hatchery or trade well enough to make it worthwhile, but he was completely shut down, and as soon as that did occur, Dark, he just droned up to 80, or I think it was 76, droned up to 76, got up to 5 bases, teched up the hive, and yeah, Dark, he ran away with it. GG, well played. Ooh. And with that, we have our first 2 units. I want Dark's big, hairy, sweaty arms to hold me so tight while he kisses his Valencia trophy like no tomorrow. I want him to call me Midal Zerkling. I'm gonna scream back, Park Ryungwoo, as he holds me down and spanks my butt with his big meaty hands. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my god. With that, that is our first 2 matches done here, and we have plenty more ahead of us as well. As we do switch our scenes over and have a look at the group. Oh boy, so we have reached that halfway mark. We have Classic taking down Creator 2-1, Dark took down Bunny 2-0, and up next we have the winners match between Classic and Dark. Bit of a classic. I love seeing the 2 of them duke it out. And meanwhile, we have the elimination match, Creator versus Bunny, to determine who is the first to be eliminated from Group B. Oh boy. So yeah, up next we have 3 matches left. We have the winners match, elimination match, and the decider match thereafter. No one has been eliminated yet, but that is soon about to change. For now though, we're going to be going on a short break. Going to be going on a short break here as we have reached that halfway mark. So take this moment to hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, cuddle your colossus, tuck in your tempest, and massage your marines, papi. As oh my god. A big shout out to Dohi as well. Thank you for resubscribing for 2 months with Twitch Prime. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Always appreciate the support. Again, if you want to support us, you can by subscribing, or you can check out our Patreon. Hope you enjoy your emotes. Hope you enjoy your replay packs. Likewise, if you want to support GSL, GSL in the chat, and you get a link to the Patreon. Some of you may not know this, but GSL does have a Patreon, and if they do provide some benefits. They provide photo shoots, player interviews, player fun fact Q&As. There's quite some fun side content available on Patreon alongside the replays as well. So if you want to support GSL, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, thank you so much for the support. We always appreciate it. Again, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll have our next 3 series. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the Broodor OST, as we do get ready here for the remainder of tonight's broadcast for the second half of the GSL Round of 8 Group B. We just casted our first wave of matches, and now we're here to determine who makes it out first in Group B. Will it be Dark or Classic? They both excelled in their own ways. Dark, of course, looking strong against Terran in the ZVT, both in the early game and towards the mid to late game. Meanwhile, Classic was able to show off his prowess of the chaotic nature of PvP. If you missed out earlier, I highly recommend checking it out. We casted Classic versus Creator, and there was a cannon rush. we rarely get to see cannon rushes at this level. It was crazy, it was chaotic, it was beautiful. It's everything that you want in a PvP, but now we're here in something very different, in a ZVP instead, and game 1 is going to be on Site Delta. Let's go. Let us go. Again, as a reminder, the loser of this series won't be knocked out of the group. They'll be knocked down to the decider match. So they will still have a second chance, a second life, a second way out of this group. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming, the blue Zerg. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the red Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Here we go. And it's been a hot minute since we've casted these two clash. I want to say maybe 3 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks ago we casted Dark versus Classic in KSL. And it's been a while since then. Again, things have been very chaotic between the two of them. Classic is a very aggressive player. Last time we saw him, Classic was very fond of going into Tempest Rushes, or at least mixing it into a series, so I would not be surprised if that does occur at some point in this best of 3. Likewise, he has been going for some Glaive Adept variations as well, very similar to Hero, as Hero has also been having a great time exploring different ways to go into Glaive Adepts with different gateway timings, in general different variations and kind of transitions from a third base. Hero has been looking terrifying, and it feels like Classic has been following suit. But we'll see. We'll see what he brings to the table. There's a lot available here in PvZ. Even when it comes to the openers, we could see a Stargate opener or a Twilight Council, and both of those can kind of go different, down very different branching pathways on how they want to play this out. But now, Gate Expand. Gate Expand into the Cyber Core. Standard opener here from Classic. Likewise, a Hatch Gas pull from Dark. He was able to take his natural, bear that in mind. So he will be, if he is up against a Twilight Council opener, Dark will have a much stronger defense back at home. He's going to have a much easier time holding. Here we go. Second pylon is thrown down. This feels like a Stargate pylon just because it's a little bit further out, but we'll see kind of what tech gets thrown down and where it gets thrown down as well. Overlord is going to be heading towards that natural, just confirming the timing of the Nexus before getting back towards that Overlord pillar. And there it is, Stargate is on the way. Usually if you throw down the Twilight Council, you throw down the pylon a little bit further back to try to keep it hidden to make it that much more difficult and take it longer to scout. Because it's a little bit further forward, well, the pylon I should say, did of course read to be a Stargate, just so that the Oracle gets across the map that much faster. Even if you cut 2-3 seconds, like every second does count in StarCraft. So we do have our openers of choice. Dark back at home getting into his third, droning up, saturating his bases, should be building up his queen count back at home as well. Very standard setup here from both players. And I guess the first deviation is going to come out from this Stargate. Do we go Oracle first? Phoenix, Void Ray. Void Ray openers have been quite popular as of late. Overlord is going to take a lot of hits. And there it is. It's the Fleet Beacon. Like, I know that I started this game off talking about how, like, Classic recently has been really liking, like, Sky Toss and Fleet Beacon rushes. And I was expecting it at some point in the series. I wasn't expecting it game one. I wasn't expecting this. But yeah, coming back to that, Classic has been very fond of this. So this shouldn't be a commitment into Skytoss. What do I mean by that? This should be a Tempest rush, and we build up towards 4 Tempests, and then from here you go for a ground transition. So you hard switch into Blink Stalkers into a ground-based army. And the goal is to try to kind of lure and bait your opponent, bait the Zerg player into investing too much into anti-air, into hard committing and overreacting and going into too many Corruptors, and then you catch them off guard with Blink Stalkers. That's why we only have 1 Stargate. Now we have a second on the way, which makes sense. But again, I don't see us building up more than 4 Tempests. We'll see. We'll see if we actually commit to Skytoss or if we do go into a ground-based army. Again, like what I'm saying, I'm just basing off of what we've seen from Classic these past couple of weeks. We'll see if that continues to be the trend. Meanwhile, Dark is cutting workers. I know I'm focusing a lot on what Classic is up to, but back at home, Dark, he's building up towards 8 Roaches. We're cutting workers at 40. Roaches are soon going to be waddling across the map. Ling's fanning out, trying to get a read of what's going on. A third base is late. Dark should recognize that. We do have tectonic destabilizers on the way. That is, of course, the Tempest upgrade to help do additional damage to buildings. And we'll see how far we can go with this. As we have 1 Tempest so far, we're getting up towards 3 Tempest. Meanwhile, back at home, Dark is going to be squeezing out a couple of workers. Did make a big wave of Roaches, and it looks like they were just for safety. It looks like he was reading... I don't blame him. Because there's no third, he's reading this as a Twilight Council opener, and we're building up towards like a 2-base all-in. So he builds up some Roaches just to be safe against Glaive Adepts or Dark Templar, but there is none. So these Roaches were a bit of a waste. The resources invested into something that we do not need. And now it looks like Dark realizes, hold up, you're still not attacking, you're still not doing anything. I guess I am safe to drone. I can saturate my third base at least a little bit. Additional queens are on the way. Lair is on the way, which is very important to gain access to a spire. And here come additional gateways. There it is. There's that gateway explosion. 4 more gates. It's going to be 6 gates in total. And there's the Twilight Council. Should be for Blink. Oh, that's going to be even more gates. We're getting up towards 7, soon to be maybe even 8 gateways. Here come those 4 Tempests. Now, I assumed that we would only be making 4 Tempests, but this is different. We are building up towards 6. We have a 5th and 6th Tempest on the way, so we're investing even harder to this. Here we go. Spore Crawler is going to go down. Tempests have been revealed. Because we did make an extra wave of Tempest, I wonder if this could even be charged instead of Blink. I'm curious what kind of direction we go in. As for now, the Drop-A-Lord micro, let's go! I love this from Dark. He does this whenever he goes up against Proxy Tempest. He has the Overlord to basically try to dodge shots. Oh. So far, the Queens are standing strong. Oh. Queen does go down in the end, and we are going for that Overlord. Another Queen falls as well. This is getting a bit out of hand. Meanwhile, there are those Blink Stalkers on the way. And here come those Corruptors. Again, this basically Darky's playing into Classic's hands right now. I mean, we do need Corruptors to defend, but every single Queen's going to be going down. We bust in towards the third base. And this hatchery is going to fall. These Tempests do so much damage here with that upgrade. Behind this Classic getting into his own third, a very late third, but on time here. It's perfectly fine because he's just doing so much economic damage. He's going to get another hatchery. Another base is going to go down. We can even lay siege upon the Spire, and yeah, we go right for it. Spire is going to fall. We recall back here, and we miss some of the units, unfortunately. 1 Tempest falls. Additional Corruptors are on the way. We should shut down these Tempests. But back at home, we're building up a massive Blink Stalker army. Again, it's not about Skytoss. Not anymore. We're done with building Skytoss units. It's all about the ground toss. And Dark, his economy is just in shambles. He's on 1 base economy, essentially. Long distance mining from every other hatchery. Corruptors are on the way. Additional Roaches and Ravagers. And Classic is going for a big 3-base push. We have a proxy gateway. How many gateways do we have in total? 7. So 7 back at home. 8th gateways across the map. We may have a third base, but we're not saturating. We're not, we cancel it. We're going for a big 2-base all-in. We don't care about the third. We're doubling down here on pure Blink Stalker. Classic, he knows that Dark is battered and bruised. He knows that Dark is limping along, and he's looking to put him down. Vile's going to be connecting. They do actually land on some of these Stalkers. Corruptors should deal with some of these Tempests, but there's just not enough on the ground. GG gets called, and Classic will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there at a Classic. Again, this build that Classic just whipped out is very trendy. Very trendy at the moment. It isn't just Classic that's been doing this. Hero has as well. Hero, Nightmare, Estrella. It's kind of been coursing through the Protoss players, especially amongst the Korean Protoss players as well. They've been embracing this. What I will say is that this is a much more aggressive variation from Classic. Usually, I mentioned before, usually I see Protoss players go up to only 4 Tempests and go for a faster third. Here, the third was a fake. It was just a 2-base all-in follow-up, so Classic just doubled down on the aggression, snowballed out of control, and took game number 1. And now we're getting into game number 2. We'll see if Dark can fight back. We'll see if he can tie up the series. Now, what's important is that this build from Classic, this is something that you do once. Remember, a big reason as to why this worked, Dark, he read it as a Twilight Council opener. That's why at the start of the game, Dark made so many roaches, because he assumed it was going to be a 2-base all-in with Glaive Adepts or DTs or Immortals. Dark didn't know what was happening, so he was caught off guard, and that's something that you can only do once in a series. But here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the South Korean Zurich player representing Dragon Kai-Z Gaming. Down in this series, looking to fight back, it is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss representing Twisted Minds. Up in the series, it is Classic. Remember, it's a best of 3, not a best of 5. Classic needs one more win here. One win to advance out first in this group. And again, I love the flair here from Classic as well. Like, again, I think that's the first time that I've seen a lot of Tempests into Blink Stalkers over the past month of play. But I think this is the first time that I've seen a Protoss player just double down and just go for a 2-base all-in afterwards. just throw caution to the wind and just clean it up then and there. Very risky is what I will say. It's very risky, but the Tempest did do a lot, right? They killed 2 hatcheries. They killed the third and the natural, so you could get away with that. You could end it then and there. Meanwhile, Dark going for his own shenanigans here, going for his own hatch block. Let's go. Now, this isn't aggression from Dark. Dark, he went hatch, into gas back at home. So there's no early spawning pool, and Classic, he's confirming this. He comes in for a scout, he confirms that the spawning pool is late. So this is a hatch block from Dark. This is designed to delay the expansion and to disrupt the economy of Classic, while Dark gets into his own opener. This has also been very trendy for the past maybe month and a half, 2 months from Dark. Dark has been very fond of hatch blocks, also of actual proxy hatches as well, where he goes 12 pool proxy hatch. So Dark has been just very aggressive here in this matchup, and we see that here. And again, just designed to delay the expansion. We should cancel. We shouldn't let this finish. There we go. There's a cancel. Now, the scary thing here is that Dark did force out a Zealot. He forced out a Zealot. He's forcing out an abundance of units early on, and they're going to be moving out. It's going to be on Dark to defend with the bare minimum, because Dark, he cut corners, he has Queens now on the way. Ideally, he wants to delay Link production and drone up heavily, because his hatchery was delayed, right? His first hatchery was across the map, as he's taking a fast third. So Dark has to be very careful here how he approaches this, as Classic is going for a Twilight Council opener. He wants to try to punish Dark. With this, we can go into Glaive Adepts or even Dark Templar. So a much more aggressive follow-up here from Classic. Zealot has arrived, Adept as well. Second Adept is on the way. Remember, Dark, he has Slowlings and a handful of Queens. Has 4 Lings here at the natural. We are going to be confirming the third base being taken. Classic does have eyes on this. Of course, 2 Adepts do one-shot drones. Lings as well. We are going to be threatening Shades, and merely the presence of these Adepts is forcing out Lings. Lings that should have otherwise been drones. So even though we're not killing workers, in a way we are. We're forcing Larva not to be made into workers, but into Lings instead. So some good inadvertent damage. Behind this, it is going to be Glaives. We are not pulling out of gas. We're kind of pulling out of gas. It's a little bit disjointed. Ling speed is about to kick in, and these Adepts, they got to get the hell out of here. They need to get out, they need to survive. It's going to be 4 gates in total. We have pulled out of gas, so this isn't going to be a big commitment into 6 gates or into Dark Templar. It's just 4 gate Glaive Adepts, which means this should eventually transition into a 3rd base. This is not all in. It's a way to get economic damage done. It's a way to catch a Zerg player off guard, not a way to kill them. At this level, it shouldn't be a way to kill them. Here we go, the Overlord is being pushed away. Adepts will soon be banking up the Overlord. What did we see? We did see the Twilight Council and the Robo, so Dark is aware of what's going on. We have a safety Roach Warren on the way, thrown down at around the 4-minute mark. So Dark, as he loses that Overlord, he does get supply blocked for a moment. But he should be cutting workers here at 42 and making Lings and Roaches to defend. As the Adepts are making their way across the map. Moving towards that 3rd. Queens are going to be rotating over. Again, good Overlord positions. Just to keep an eye on the movement here of Classic. We do spot the Warp Prism. We spot the Warp in. Queens are rotating. 11 Roaches are in production. We don't want to throw away these Lings. The Lings, they need to chase those Shades. As the Adepts will be threatening that 3rd base. No, they're committed to the natural. So far, Darky does react well. He does pull back. Doesn't lose any drones. Soaking shots with those Queens. He goes straight for the main base. The Prism does dive in, but there is an army waiting. Classic, he cannot commit. Catches a couple of transferring workers. Not too bad. We even catch a couple of Roaches as well. 5 drones going down is a good start, especially if we keep these Adepts alive. We get a 2nd Roach Warren. Classic trying to warp into the main base. This hatchery taking a lot of hits. Up. The hatchery getting very low. Meanwhile, the Prism does get zoned away. We commit to the Shade into the natural. No drones are in position. No economic damage is done. But we do trade well against the Lings. The Prism. Oh my god. Yeah, be careful, Papi. Be careful. Looking at the units lost tab here. Classic has only lost 5 Adepts here. 5 Adepts for 6 drones. Lings, a couple of Roaches. Good trades overall. And what's important is that Classic keeps these Adepts alive, because he needs them to protect his 3rd. Remember what we said earlier, like, this was not an all-in. This is a build designed to get economic damage done and settle you into the mid-game and allow you to expand and take a 3rd base. So the 3rd base is now up and running. Adepts, there are enough of them to keep this safe from any kind of Ling counterattack, and Dark is going to be stuck at home journey. Now, what's important is that Dark didn't lose too many workers to fall too far behind. He lost 6 drones, and again, Lings and Roaches, but this could have been game-ending damage. This could have gotten an entire mineral line even and end of the game. So Dark is able to keep up, he's able to hold on, and able to maintain his worker lead. Now, what is scary is that these Adepts are still threatening these mineral lines. They get 2 drones, and they get picked up immediately. Oh, did I say 2 workers? Oh no. 7 drones go down here at the natural. The Adepts, they shade in. They catch Dark completely off guard. And this is becoming too much. And here we go. Classic building up towards his follow-up attack. Adepts with Immortals as well. A couple of sentries to help support. And this is terrifying. Classic up in supply. Now, to be fair, these Adepts, they aren't the biggest of threats. They don't trade amazingly against Roaches. It's the Immortals, right? The goal here is that the Adepts, they protect the Immortals, and the Immortals, they're the ones that deal the real damage. Here we go. We do threaten a big shade towards that natural. Classic again, being so aggressive, so assertive with this. Ooh, Files do connect. And we have the better CranKy. Files once again taking down some of those sentries. Oh my god. The Prism goes down. Prism does go down to the queens. No more reinforcements. What you see is what you get. Dark kiting back here towards the safety of his natural base. Buying time, 7 more roaches in production, and the adept army is being thinned out. We are running out of adepts, and once we do, these immortals are going to be so exposed. Oh, the overlords. Boys are being pulled. We're trying to set up a surround, but more adepts rock up. And here we go, Lings. They come in from behind. They get on top of the immortals, and there is no juggling. There is no warp prism. The immortals are falling. Again, imagine if there was a warp prism with this. If the warp prism lived, if it survived, Classic may just have won the game. Just straight up. If we had that warp prism to reinforce, to help Micro and keep those immortals alive, but Dark, he holds. He cleans up the army, and he is still in a pretty difficult position. He's on 48 workers, down in the economy, and he's doubling down. Darky's going all in. Darky's going for his counter all in. 12 Lings on the way, Ravagers, no more droning, no more economy. We're going for a big counterattack. It's all or nothing for Dark. There are no immortals. 0 immortals here in position. 1 immortal just came out, but it's going to be too late. No shield battery, no overcharge. Classic, he was not ready for a counterattack. Not like this. Files are going to be connecting. 1 immortal comes out. Good juggling, we do keep it alive. But there's only so much 1 immortal can do. We have the overcharge, but the shield battery is going to go down. Ay, ay, ay. And Classic, he did so well for himself at the start of this game. Files, they rain down on the mineral line. We come in with some more Ling reinforcements. The boys are being pulled. That 1 immortal doing what it can. But it's still only 1 immortal. As we take down 14 probes, the rest of the army. We try to go for some warp-ins. Oof, but the piles will connect. And with that, this third base has been broken. At the same time, a Ling run by, a Roach run by into the natural. The wall is not a wall. And it looks like Classic has been broken. He's only got a handful of units left, a handful of adepts remaining. He still has that 1 immortal, doing what it can. But the boys are being pulled for a second time. Third base is going to go down. That is over 30 dead workers. Again, Dark, he barely held on. He knew his position. He knew that he was too far behind. So the counter all-in was the play. And he does waddle in towards that natural. Cybercore is going to go down, which means no more adepts. That's all that Classic has to work with. Just adepts. He has Blink, so he can try to morph in some Stalkers. And he is forcing this back. He is trying to force it back here. Otherwise, oh my god. Dark has to respect the warp-ins, has to retreat. By the way, there is no charge. We can only warp in Zealots because of the dead Cybercore. That's all we have to work with. And that 1 immortal. The hero immortal. It's got a lot of work to do. Got a lot to be done. And GG is going to be called here. Dark snowballs out of control and will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Again, Classic doing very well here, even in game number 2, getting so much damage done with his adepts. Not with his initial adepts, but remember, 2 adepts, they snuck into the natural base, they crippled the economy. The follow-up push as well was devastating. Bringing it back, again, imagine if Classic had been able to keep that Warp Prism alive, we would have seen a very different game. And honestly, Classic probably would have been able to break Dark then and there if he just had an extra wave of reinforcements, and again, just the added ability to micro and juggle his units. I mean, we saw the immortal control at the end of the game, right? Imagine if he had that with the main army. With those 3 immortals and that Warp Prism, Classic would have 100% broken through. But that's why we have to give a shout out to Dark for having the wherewithal to snipe that Warp Prism ahead of time at the start of the fight with his queens. He lost all of his queens in the process, but he got the Prism, and that was huge. That was just a pivotal moment in that fight, in that game. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Here we go. As we get into it, a big shout out to Sinistro, papi. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Bienvenidos. Big shout to Sinistro, one of the big people behind StarCraft, behind ESL and tournaments themselves. So much love, Sinistro, much love. Love what you do, and best of luck as well. I know things are gonna get busy, things are gonna get really intense with DreamHack Atlanta around the corner. So best of luck. Best of luck, Sinistro. As we get into game number 3 and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alkyone, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming, tying up the series 1-1. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. How's it going? Some of these games are really good. Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear. I mean, so far they've been amazing. So it's all of them. They've been great. Again, I did avoid watching these live, just because I knew that I was going to cast them. So yeah, be careful with what is said in the chats. Just experiencing it here for the first time. Hopefully with some people as well. And yeah, it's been really good matches so far. We're getting into the ace match here to determine who makes it out of this group first. And as a reminder, no one gets eliminated yet. The loser of this series goes down to the decider match, where we still have to determine who faces off against them, either Bunny or Creator. Katowice qualifiers, Atlanta end of year is quite agitated around it. Yeah, definitely. I did see on the calendar that the IM qualifiers are around the corner. They're in a couple of weeks, which is wild, and obviously we're going to be covering the qualifiers here on the Cranky Ducklings, as we always do. Quack, we'll be there. As always. We'll try to cover as much as we can. For now, though, we do have some standard openers. It's going to be a gate expand into the Cyber Core, so a standard opener out of Classic. I should also mention as well, this time Dark doesn't go for the proxy hatch. Remember, last game he went for a hatch block. This time, none whatsoever. The rush distance by ground is a little bit longer, so it takes longer for the drone to get across the map. Not really worth it here in the end. Dark instead going for the unnatural natural as we load into Alkyone, a map that is considered to be a more macro-oriented map. We saw it earlier between Dark and Bunny, how it can be very difficult to be aggressive yourself and be assertive and push up towards the 3rd or even 4th base just because of the defender's advantage. Like the ramp, the potential concave, and like flanking here on the left-hand side as well. It's just so awkward to engage, regardless of race. Likewise here towards the left-hand side as well, the choke point can be brutal. So I'm curious how aggressive we want to be. This would not be a bad map to go into Tempest again. I'll be honest, like this would not be a bad Tempest map, as we saw in game 1 from Classic, but we'll see, especially with the Overlord coming in and confirming the Stargate opener. I'm loving the Phoenix First. Phoenix First is going to be shutting down the Overlord, is going to be keeping Dark in the dark, making sure he doesn't know what comes next. Now, I do think that Phoenix First into Fleet Beacon is a little bit too obvious, so I wouldn't be opposed to transitioning into, or taking, into a different direction. We'll see. Whether it's, Sky Toss or Fleet Beacon, whether it's something like an earlier Twilight Council, or even a 3rd base into a Twilight Council into Delayed Glaive Adepts as the Overlord comes back in. Phoenix still looking for Overlord, still looking for damage. We do get confirmation, or at least Dark does, that there's an Oracle coming out next. So he knows to be ready for it. He also sees the lack of Fleet Beacon, lack of second Stargate, for now at least. Phoenix does move out. Second Oracle's on the way, so we should be expanding and taking a 3rd. There it is. 3rd is being taken as we speak. Dark is preparing back at home. We have 3 queens here at the 3rd. We have 2 queens here in the main. Spores are in production. Dark just getting ready here for those oracles. He's just getting things ready. We do try to catch some of these transferring workers, and up, we get one. One drone does go down. Not bad for mainly shields. Nothing amazing, but we're going to be able to regenerate those shields and dip back in once again. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have our transition. It's going to be a Forge and a Twilight Council. Both tech structures are in the natural because of the Overlord in the main. Now that it gets knocked down, we can commit here to our ground toss. Now, Forge and Twilight Council should be +1 and Blink. There are, of course, charge builds and charge variations, but before we can talk about that, we do get into the natural base once again. Oh, 3, 4 more workers go down. Very crisp control there out of Classic, being very careful with how he does maneuver. But the flank! Oh my god. We almost do catch another one of those oracles, but Classic does escape with everything, and that is Overlord speed. Interesting. Curious. So, I mean, in a ZVP matchup, part of me wants to believe, especially with the lair finishing up, this could be an all-in. We could be sending Roaches and Queens across the map with Dropper Lords, but considering what's been happening this series and considering the tech switches that Classic has been going for, it makes sense here for Dark to just invest into Overlord speed just for... Never mind. I was coping, but I was like, you know what? Maybe he just wants to scout. Maybe he just wants to morph into an Overseer and get across the map and figure out what's going... Nah, it's Dark. It's Dark, Poppy. We're doubling down here. Here come the Dropper Lords. Here come the Queens. We're going for one big all-in. The German taxi is upon us, so whatever kind of transport you want to mention. As we're moving across the map, what do we have to work with? Roaches, Lings on the way, Ravagers are being morphed in, and so far, unscattered. So far, Classic doesn't. He's teching! We have a Robo, a second Robo, and a Robotics Bay on the way. Tech that is not going to come into play here, not in this game. As Dark is pushing towards that third, and now he realizes what's going on. We have a cannon, 2 cannons in production here for Classic. He needs time. He needs time to set up all this stack defense. Blink is still not done. +1 is still not done either. We don't have our upgrades. The Oracle's doing what they can. They do catch one of the Ravagers. Oh, they engage the Queens. Oracles are going to be going down. We dive on the main army. Force fields will be knocked down. They're buying time, though. Buying time for the cannons. And we have the overcharge. Vials will connect. They take down the shield battery, take down the cannon as well. Overcharge is popped. And the Ravagers have to back off. We have to respect that shield battery. Going to be picking up those Queens, rotating on over towards that natural. Disruptors are on the way. If they come out, that could be it. That could be all the Classic needs. As we do dive on the army. Queens are being dropped. Sentry's going down. The Artosis Pylon! No shot! The Robo gets depowered. The Disruptor will not come out. Not like this. Vials connect. Overcharges run out. The shield batteries are also out of energy, and it looks like we are breaking this third base. Here comes the Disruptor from behind. Nova goes off. Ooh, takes down one Ravager, but that's not going to be enough. We have Lings trickling on in. But Blink did finish, but we take the Vials to the face. Not like this. The Ravagers are running out of steam, though. They're getting very low. As we take down another shield battery. Classic, he's holding. He is barely holding on. Nova goes off, takes down a Queen. And we will be able to chase down these Ravagers. As I say that, we do have a couple more reinforcements coming in. Another Ravager goes down. And a second Ravager as well. It looks like Darky doesn't have enough. At the same time, though, he drops into the mineral line, killing more workers. Oh, the Vials, they get another couple of probes. Behind this, Dark is droning. Dark is droning, he's saturating his bases. Disruptors have arrived. We even spread creep in the natural. But Classic did hold. A big part of this is, of course, the Disruptors coming out, forcing the splits, connecting with the army, buying enough time. And Classic, he is in a better economic position. He's up in workers. We're even in bases, up in workers. We have Disruptors. +2 is on the way as well. Dark did do damage, don't get me wrong, but he's still not in the best position. I'm curious. Okay, I was like, are we gonna drone or are we gonna make units? We are double expanding. We're making drones. Hive is on the way. Tech-wise, Dark isn't actually looking too bad. With this Hive, we gain access to Vipers, and that's exactly what we need against these Disruptors. Oh, as Dark is supply blocked. 5 Overlords on the way. Classic not feeling too confident about moving out. He's going to be taking his 4th base. Building up his Disruptor cannon. It looks like Classic is taking a more defensive position. I mean, he doesn't have a Warp Prism. There's no Warp Prism, no way to reinforce. He's moving out with his Stalkers, but he's leaving his Disruptors back at home. So he's going to be harassing. Not going to be committing. The game is going to settle from here. And because of how fast this Infestation Pit and Hive is, like, again, the Vipers are going to be the MVPs for Dark. I'm assuming the Vipers are on the way, but we'll see. This Classic is still just trying to poke in. Likewise, Dark waiting for him with a mass Ravager army. If Classic does push too far into creep, he will get surrounded. So Classic has to be very careful with his movement. Again, just cleaning up some of these active tumors. Not overly committing. We have a random Baling Waddle Buy setup. It's going to be shut down. Back at home, the Hive is done. Jesus, we're getting to double Colossus production. There's going to be so much to yoink. We have 5 Disruptors and soon to be 4 Colossus. My god. That's a lot of splash damage here for Classic. Meanwhile, Dark, he's doubling down with Lingbane Roach Ravager. Adrenal is on the way. Bailing Speed as well. Now, the other way this works here, Lingbane Roach Ravager is an army that is designed to just swallow up a Protoss ground force. If Classic, again, does overextend, there is potential for Dark to take a really good fight. As Classic moves out, Dark is going in for a big Link counterattack, and we do catch the 4th base. We force a recall. Probes are going to be going down. Shield Battery as well. Dark will get the hell out of there. Thankfully, there are the Vipers. we need them, Papi. We need them. Vipers are on the way. But they need time. They need to gather up energy. At the same time, Bailing drop into the main. Oh my god. 8 probes go down. At the same time, another Bailing run by here towards that 4th base. We do react in time. But what this is doing is forcing the army to come back around. Classic, he was in the middle of pushing out. And now Dark has bought enough time to get into those Vipers. They have arrived. Gathering up energy here at the natural. Hydrogen's on the way. We need to get into Hydro Lurker Viper, but Lurker Den is a ways off. It's very far away here tech-wise. Classic pushing through the center once again. As he pushes through the center, we have a Lingbane run-by setup as well as a big Roach Ravager counterattack as well. And it's forcing Classic to turn around again. Dark doing so much with so little here, buying so much time. And now the Vipers are topped up. The Vipers are topped up. Lurker Den is now in production. I mentioned earlier that Lurkers, they're a little bit too far away. Not so much anymore. But here we go. Classic pushing through the center. And yep, there we go. The base trade is upon us. Dark, he knows he cannot engage with this army. Not with so much splash damage. We're going for the base trade. Lings, they bust into the 3rd. We have Lingbane towards the 4th. And the main army towards the natural. And Classic is turning around. He's turning back around. Ay, ay, ay. 3rd base is going to go down. Lings eviscerating. Oh, they're going to be cleaned up here at the 4th base. We bust into the main base as well. And from here, Dark has to get the hell out of here. Oh, the Nevers. Will graze the army. And Classic, he has to turn back around and waddle back into his main, into his bases, regain control of all of this. And in the midst of this chaos, Dark, Hydras are coming out. Lurkers are on the way. This feels illegal. How did Dark get here? No shot. It feels like for the past 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, like Classic could have A-moved. He could have just sent everything across the map. We could have tried to recall back home later or something and just sent it, and there was no way for Dark to engage. He knew that. That's why Dark wasn't fighting. That's why Dark was going for all these counterattacks. He knew that he cannot fight head on. Now he can. Now he gets Lurkers. Oh my god. Ay, ay, ay. How many Lurkers do we have? 8. Soon to be 11. 11 Lurkers are on the way with Vipers as well. Here come the yoinks. 1 and 2 Disruptors go down. Oof. Oh my god. A decent Nova getting 3 Ravagers. But that was a lot of Novas wasted. A lot of Novas spent. Vile's going to be zoning back the army. The Vipers regathering that energy, looking for abductions on the Colossus. We do have detection, but pushing into this line of Lurkers is not going to be easy. And as Classic pushes towards that natural, we're going for another big counterattack. Novas go off. Oof. Take down one of those lurkers. We still have a couple of abductions left. Lurkers are pushing forward. They're looking very exposed. The blinding clouds. Ooh, we do blinding cloud the army, but it looks like the lurkers are going down. At the same time, we're going for a massive base trade. And do we have a probe on the map? 0 workers, 0 probes. We're gonna die from elimination. No shot. No, we're recalling back home with the recall. It does finish just in time. Oh my god. The recall goes up, but we're running out of units. Starkey goes for a GG, gets called. Classic cannot fight this, and Dark will take the series 2-1. GG. Oh my god. What just happened? GG, well played. Dark doing so well, buying so much time. Constant counterattacks, constant base trades essentially. Dark, he was ready for it. He was ready to commit to base trades multiple times. And so often, Classic just had to turn back around, either didn't recall or just didn't have any warpins available. And yeah, Dark, that was crazy. Like, his opponent had 4 Colossi and 5 Disruptors. And as he was moving out, Dark, he was just now getting into 3 Vipers. He didn't even have a Lurker Den either. He just had Lingbane Roach Ravager. Dark was in trouble. He was looking dead, to be honest. But, yeah, did an amazing job just distracting the army, buying time. GG. GG, well played. Dark takes it. Dark does take it. Missed part of the game, but I suppose Classic lacked eco. Not really, no. Not really. Oh, God. Just a crazy, I almost want to say base trade, not even, just, yeah. Dark doing so much with so little with a low-tech army, just buying time over and over again. Oh my god, that was a rough game for Classic as well. Like, I can feel the frustrations out of Classic, recognizing, of course, that like he, like at any moment, I almost want to look at the graph, even just being aware that he had an army that could just roll over Dark so often, but just couldn't move out, could not move out. GG, well played. Whew. With that, yeah, congratulations to Dark. He does advance on into the semifinals, and Classic is still in this. He gets knocked down to the decider match, where he's waiting for his next opponent. He's gonna be waiting for either Creator or Bunny. Let's go. God. Unfortunately, game. I can feel the frustrations out of Classic in that game. I can feel it, like. Oh god. You want to move out, but you just can't. Just cannot. Aye. Regardless, here we go. We're getting into our next series here to determine who gets knocked out first in this group between our Protoss and our Terran. Let's go. Here we go. When it comes to what Classic lacked in that game, you could argue that he lacked maybe a little bit of conviction, right, of confidence to move out. I was surprised, like the first time that Classic pulled back home, I was shocked that he didn't recall that first time, that he just walked back home, but by the time he did, like, he had already lost so much as well. Like, it was a wild game. it was very chaotic, very chaotic. Regardless, we're getting into our next series, into a fresh best of 3, and spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss player representing Club NV. It is Creator. We go. PVT is upon us. Again, we're going to be saying goodbye to one of these players, as this is the elimination match. Creator, he went down to Classic earlier in an ace match. To be fair, did go all the way to game 3. And earlier, Bunny did go down to Dark. Now they're facing off. And I'm really excited. I'm always excited to see kind of what Bunny brings to the table. Again, Bunny, he isn't the most active of players. He competes in WTL. That's true. He also competes in GSL. But Bunny doesn't really rock up for the online weekly tournaments like KSL or ESL Open Cups. Again, Bunny, his main attention isn't on StarCraft like it used to be. But despite that, he's still damn strong, damn powerful. And, I mean, he's proving that here to make it into the top 8 of GSL. Like, that's impressive. Impressive feat. As we do have Creator being as annoying as possible, delaying the CC for a moment there. Bunny going for an economic opener, going for a Rax expand, single gas here, so nothing too out of the ordinary. And Creator does confirm that upon seeing the CC. So he knows he's safe and sound. Back at home, getting into his own gate expand as well. And we'll see what kind of direction we go in here. Again, Bunny, Creator, he has had his own thoughts about this matchup. His shout out to Creator, he does stream from time to time on his own Twitch channel, and yeah, he's had words about PvT and the current state of it, or the previous state of it, I should say. I haven't tuned into Creator in the most recent patch, but I'm sure he's well practiced, well versed, and I want to believe that Bunny is a player that Creator can keep up with. As we have our tech of choice, and it is going to be a Stargate. Stargate opener here from Creator. So far, the Reaper has been zoned away. Really good movement here from our Protoss. We shut down the Reaper, and Bunny sees nothing. He doesn't know if it's a Twilight Council or a Stargate. He is in the dark. Behind this, Creator is going for his own move out as well. Adepts shading out. Bunny getting into a 1-1-1 opener. Should be setting up for drop play. And now that the Reaper has been dealt with, there's nothing forcing these Adepts to stay at home. So we can move out and we can threaten that mineral line. We head up the ramp, and what do we see? We get eyes on the starport. So we already know that it's not going to be a 3 racks, for example, or a 2-1-1. Starport is already on the way. So again, Creator, he's just crossing off what it could and couldn't be of the list. Piecing together what we're up against. Oh my god! What we're up against, as that is a fusion core? Wait, what? Wait, what? TY, is that you? Gumiho, is that you? Bunny, what happened? What's happening right now? What's going on? Used to be a wholesome player. Used to be standard, Bobby. What's going on? We're getting a tech lab on this starport. We're going for a BC rush, by the way. Oh my god. Bunny. I'm just completely caught off guard. I haven't seen this from Bunny before. Again, I did mention it. Gumiho has whipped this out. TY as well from time to time, experimenting with mech or even BC, and there it is, a BC rush here from Bunny. My god. And Creator, he's not going to be ready for this. This is the last thing you're going to be thinking. Like, why would you? As Creator, he's getting into his robotics bay. Okay, so a couple of things. Because it's a Stargate opener, these Phoenixes should eventually move out, and they should get eyes of in the main base. Right now, the goal for Bunny is to zone away those Phoenixes and to keep this fusion core hidden, specifically the fusion core. Seeing a tech lab on a starport is not good enough because you could just assume it's going to be a Raven opener, or even like Banshee into Raven, which is a little more standard. So the production here isn't enough of a tell. As the Adepts are being forced away, Yamato being researched. We're doubling down, Poppy. We're doubling down. And Bunny, he's sending it across the map, pulling a couple of boys as well to help repair, to help throw down some bunkers. And this is lined up with the battle cruiser. As we teleport across the map right into the main base. Phoenix is going to have to respond. What do we have to defend? We have one Immortal, a handful of Phoenixes, a handful of units, not much at all. Here comes that main army, moving towards that third base. Creator being pulled apart. We are within range. Honestly, we can just keep pushing. We're taking it slow and steady. Bunker is going to be cancelled. Additional Stalkers are in production. Void Rays on the way. And we're going for the overcharge. We're going for the dive. Oh, God, but that tank just so much in the back line. Marines doing what they can. They do focus down one of those Phoenixes. Both of them even. Remember, there is no stim. There is no stim with this push. BC behind this will go down to the Void Ray. So far, Creator, he is holding. But the bunkers are finishing. With the help of this Void Ray, can we work through this tank? It's going to be close. We're looking for a better angle of attack. Even trying to catch some reinforcements. From behind, we can dive on top of the tanks. BC's teleporting in. And yeah, we are catching reinforcements instead. Creator, he ignores this army, which means the space is going to fall. But doesn't matter because we're going for a base trade. In a way. Colossus have arrived. We have the Yamato. Oh, Yamato down the Colossus. Isn't enough to bring it down. But a good chunk of damage. We do push on forward. At the same time, Creator busting into the main. The boys are being pulled. The friendly fire. Tank shot's going to be going off. Raven goes down to the Phoenixes. We even lift up that tank. And it looks like Creator may just have too much. He kills 27 SCVs. The tank as well. There's nothing left back at home. Meanwhile, Bunny, it's taking him too long. The shield battery is keeping the Colossus alive. Bunny's running out of steam. We need to break in. As Creator, he's camping the production. He gets on top of the racks, is on top of the starports. Boys are being pulled. But how can they deal with this? Across the map, the BC still trying to deal with those Stalkers and the Colossus. The Void Ray comes out, and the Void Ray can go to town on this battle cruiser. Yeah, forces the recall. Forces the teleport even. I mean, we teleport, then we recall. And after all the chaos settles down, Bunny is down to 6 workers. 6 SCVs. But he has mules, Copium. He has plus mules, to be fair. He does have mules. Not wrong. Bunny has a standing army. He's going to rotate around. Looking at the unit side, we have 2 tanks, a BC, a handful of Marines. We do lay siege upon the new 3rd base of Creator. But Creator, he doesn't need the 3rd. He has a stable economy. Nexus is going to burn down. God, we have so many Void Rays. And we just don't have enough anti-air. Like, again, no stim, no combat shields. Yamato goes up. That's a Phoenix. So let's get a Phoenix in the end. I'm not too sure if that was the best target, I'll be honest. Based on how much damage the last Yamato did, we could have maybe even killed the Colossus. Here we go, we dive on the army. Colossus is going ham, and Creator, he shuts this down, cleans up the BC and the tanks. GG gets called, and Creator will take game number 1. The hell did we just watch? God, that was crazy. Bunny going for his own 2-base BC play. Had a 3rd behind it, of course. Had a 3rd base that was on the way, but he was very committed, and I just love that. At a certain point, Creator was like, you know, the bunkers are done, the tanks are in position. Let me just base trade. I didn't like he's especially because there's no stim. It takes so long for the army of basically the army of Bunny. The only thing that really deals damage is the tanks. So it's a very slow moving army. It takes a long time to really break a base, as we saw, and eventually push into the natural and commit to a base trade. So yeah, Creator, he just ignores it, goes across the map, has so much more DPS, has so much more maneuverability, and he just, yeah, kills Bunny back at home. Oh my god. Just ignores the bunkers, ignores the tanks. GG. GG, well played. I also feel like the BC was a little bit lackluster. I think there was maybe a little bit more potential if it was with the main army. Remember, the BC went for the main base and then got trapped in the corner and then just died instantly to the Void Ray. Like, it was like, it didn't really pay for itself. And I don't even think the first BC got a Yamato off because it died so quickly. Or it died too soon, maybe a better way to put it. So I can see it working, definitely, but yeah, in the end, Creator did shut it down, and with that, Creator, he takes the lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Oh. if Yamato units getting recalled, does the Yamato travel across the map after it? Need to test that. I'm pretty sure that's a I think that's a Fear Dragon useless fun facts, right? Because there are things that do chase. I think an interesting one as we get into this is if you recall a carrier with their interceptors out, and you recall the carrier across the map, then the interceptors they glitch and they like fly all the way across the map back to the carrier, right? There's like stuff like Fear Dragon, he was testing a bunch of that stuff out. I'm sure he's done a Yamato one. I'm sure he has. As we are getting into this, and here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing representing Club NV. Up in the series, it is Creator. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have South Korean Terran, representing Mystery Gaming, down in the series, looking to fight back. It is Bunny. Here we go. What was the other one? I think another interesting one is if you neural a carrier that was being recalled. I think not the tongue. What is it? Yeah, the appendage, the tentacle of the neural. I think that does glitch across the map. As in it breaks, but like visually, like graphically, I think it glitches across the map. I want to say that's a thing. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I have seen those useless fun facts, or 99% useless facts. There we go. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Shout out to Fear Dragon. He's done a lot of testing in StarCraft. Good content. As we are going to be getting into this, and so far we do have a standard opener here from Bunny, but just because the opener is standard doesn't mean that the game is going to be standard, because we saw BC's last game against Protoss, which is wild. It reminds me of who played BC against Protoss at the start of the year against Chance. I think it was Quanta. I think we casted, I believe it was HH Quanta, the Korean Terran, who did successfully make BC's work against Chance again at the start of the year, or now that I think about it, was it last year? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Sorry, it was last year. It's been so long. I can't believe I remember that. But yeah, it's always fun. Always fun to see players mix in BCs, especially when it works. As Creator is going for a very different follow-up here. He's going for a Twilight Council instead. Okay, we have a Twilight Council opener going for, I imagine, Blink. How many Stalkers, though? How many Gateways is maybe a better way to put it. How hard are we going to commit to Blink? Or how economic are we going to be instead? Tyrus needs it. And we already see quite a bit of aggression here. So the Reaper does dip in, only sees a single gateway, but we can see that one gateway is done. We have 2 gates on the way, so it's going to be a 3-gate Blink opener. With this, we're going to have a couple more extra waves of Stalkers to help defend, to gain map control, and to eventually take a 3rd base here. So middle of the road, not the most economic opener, but not the most aggressive one either from Creator. Back at home, we are continuing Cyclone production, going for a Viking as well. Hallucination comes in, just getting a full scout, confirming the 1-1-1. But yeah, this is already quite a lot of Cyclones, and we're moving out. We are going to be pushing now. Thankfully for Creator, he did invest in that 1 extra gateway, so he has extra warp-ins. Can go toe-to-toe with this army. Does run into those Cyclones. Ooh, 1 Stalker goes down already. 2nd Stalker's going to get caught out. Yeah, forced to pull back. And we need to recall. Can we save it? Ooh, we barely do not. Recall gets wasted. 2nd Stalker falls. And Bunny, he's got a lot of momentum. Pushes forward towards that natural. The lock-ons are looking real. Viking even lands as well to add some DPS, but the shield battery keeps everything alive. The shield battery is popping off. Now we have the overcharge as well. 2nd Cyclone goes down, and Bunny is running out of steam, just smashing his face against the brick wall. It does not break, does not budge. Creator is holding. The overcharge does run out, but at the same time, like, Bunny doesn't really have too many units left to work with. He has 2 Cyclones and a Viking. Again, I'm sure Bunny was hoping that Creator would be more economic, hoping for a 2-gate opener into a 3rd. But if you remember, the Reaper didn't see the 3rd gateway. So Bunny was in the dark. Took a bit of a risk, took a bit of a gamble, did not work out. And now Creator can counterattack. Now, as Creator pushes out, he's taking his 3rd base on location. Do have that Robo finishing up as well. Blink is done. We can dive right into the main. And what is in the main base? We have a tank, but it's looking a little bit exposed, looking vulnerable. We could even ignore it.
Your probes are under attack.
There we go. We dive right on the tank. It does get 2 shots. Tank goes down. We dive on top of that tech lab as well, camping the production. Stim is not done. Bear that in mind. Viking is going to zone back that War Prism. But the Viking falls as well. So far, a good pick off here from Creator. Thankfully, that second tank does pop out in time. But not within range to help protect this mineral line. SCVs are going down. Prism does survive. Cyclone overextends. Tank does waddle down towards the natural, but that does expose the main. 3rd CC under fire. And we go for a warp in right into the main base. And Bunny's being pulled apart. Again, because of his Cyclone opener, because of how invested he was, that did delay tank production. And that means that he can only ever have 1 at a time. Oh, the Prism! Prism does overextend. Speaking of, though, the tank on the low ground just went down. The Marines, they just cannot keep up. Vanilla Marines are just so slow, so immobile. These Stalkers should go down in the main base. Another tank is on the way. But Creator, he's just achieving so much with so little here. The boys are being pulled once again. And throughout all of this, Creator, he's just chilling back at home. He's just saturating his 3rd base, getting it up and running. As Stalkers, they head back into the mineral line once again. And there we go. We recall back home. Finally, Creator, he is going to give Bunny some room to breathe. But I'm afraid to look at the units lost tab. We got 2 tanks, we got the Cyclones, Marines, the Vikings, 11 SCVs. Ay. The Unsiege! Oh, that's so unfortunate. We unsiege at the wrong moments and the tank will go down. And here come the reinforcements. Creator just doubling down here on these Stalkers. Behind this, we have Charge on the way. Storm as well. It's not like Creator's all in, not at all. He's taking up behind this. He's just getting so much done just because of the deficit that Bunny has. Because of those Cyclones early on. Tank volley is going to be going off. Actually, big shots. Oh my god. Creator losing a little bit there. Losing some Stalkers. But I think he can afford to. I think it's okay. Stim is going to finish up in 10 seconds. Cast Geyser goes down. Creator, he backs off. He rotates over. He can rotate over towards the 3rd. Oh, no shot. Can he get a kill? He can. Ay. That's going to be a kill on the 3rd CC. And Bunny, things are just not going his way this game. He invested so much into that earlier push and did fall behind as a result. Did not achieve the damage he was looking for. Takes down an Observer. At this point, he is all in. 7 Raxes on 2 bases. At this point, we have to pull the boys. Like, there's no shot we can macro out of this. He at least has Ravens, and I believe he has Interference Matrix. Looking at the upgrades, he does. He has Stim and that Disable. So he could maybe take a fight. But back at home, Creator is getting a 4th up and running, and he doesn't even have Disruptors. He has Storm! Storm in that Prism! Not like this. If it was a Colossus-based army, maybe, but here come the Storms. Big connections on the Marines. The boys have been pulled, but we have 3 more Storms in the chamber. We got plenty more where that came from. And the boys know they're going into the Storms. Second one zones back the army. 3rd and 4th, they connect with everything else. As else they come in from behind, we swallow up those tanks. There's 1 tank left, and it goes down as well. And with that, GG is going to be called. Creator cleans up the army. He takes the 2-0. Creator advances on to the decider match. GG. GG, well played, Creator. Looking quite strong here. Again, so happened to be going for a 3-gate opener, so he had plenty of warpins available. He had plenty of stalkers available for the first attack. Did lose 2, if you remember, did lose 2 stalkers. So things were looking a little bit shaky, but he had a shield battery. He had an overcharge available. Creator, he shut down the cyclone push and then immediately went for a counterattack. And he did so much with it, picking off tank after tank, SCVs, add-ons, tech labs, even killed the 3rd CC. That was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to see that 3rd CC go down, and Creator, he just snowballed out of control. My condolences to Bunny. I appreciate that Bunny did try some creative kind of play styles here. Game 1 was wild, going BC or going for a BC rush in TVP, something you don't get to see often enough, for good reason. It's not the most consistent of builds, but I appreciate that we saw something different out of Bunny as well. Likewise, didn't have the worst showing against Dark either, but does bow out here in the round of 8s, which again, hey, top 8 in Korea, not too shabby. So GG, well played. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Bunny, or we have been seeing more of Bunny in WTL. We still have a couple of weeks left of World Team League, and Bunny is representing Mystery Gaming, so plenty more Bunny action in the coming weeks on the CranKy Ducklings. Still is at least competing for his team. Meanwhile, Creator advances on into the decider match. Here we go. As we do switch our scenes over, and oh, we have some catching up to do here. It's been a while. There we go, just updating the scores here on the brackets, and we have our decider match. So of course we just wrapped up our winners match. Dark did take down Classic 2-1, is the first to advance on in the group. Meanwhile, we just saw the first to be eliminated. Bunny does bow out in the elimination match, and we have a rematch. We have a rematch, another PvP to end the night, to end it all. It's going to be Classic versus Creator once again. Oh boy. And I will need a moment to set up the casting tool. We'll need a moment here. Beautiful. There we go. Catching up in the chat. Oh. Hibbity hoppity, Bunny will be there to acquire your property. Again, we have more Bunny action. It's all good. If you're a fan of Bunny, we got plenty of it. It's all good. But with that, we have our PvP. It's going to be a bit of a rematch from the start of the night. And that PvP was wild. If you weren't here for the first series, we even had a cannon rush. Something very unique that we rarely get to see at this level of play. Which is important to bring up because I doubt we're going to see it again, but it's probably going to be in the back of Classic's mind. Creator attempted to cannon rush Classic and almost pulled it off. Almost pulled it off against Classic on Solaris earlier today. I don't think we're going to see that again, but I mean, that's why you do it again, right? Like, what are the chances that you cannon rush twice in one day? Kappa. We'll see, we'll see. As we are loading into game number 1. Here we go. And game 1 is going to be on Hecate. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have the South Korean Protoss player fighting his way up from that elimination match. Representing Club NV, it is Creator. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss. Patiently waiting in the decider match for quite some time, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, it is Classic. Here we go. And again, we have 2 gate opener setups here from both Creator and Classic. Everything so far looking normal. Bearing in mind as well, just winding it back, we also saw when they played out on Alcyone, Classic did go for a 1-base all-in, went for a proxy Robo into Immortals. So we had a very aggressive game 1 actually, sorry, series 1 between these two. So I wonder if they've gotten it out of their systems or if the aggression will continue in their rematch. But now Probe Scouts are coming in. We do have a 2-gate opener from Creator. We should be seeing the same thing out of Classic. Oh, 2-gate opener from Creator, same thing out of Classic. Creator, he is sending his probe out towards the left-hand side of the map, so it looks like he may be looking to hide his second pylon. And depending on where he goes, this is actually a pretty good location for a proxy Stargate. Meanwhile, Classic also sending out his probe, also looking for his own proxy pylon as well. Oh, we're about to get rowdy. Let's go. So both players setting up their own proxy locations. So again, this one looks primed for a proxy Stargate, at least from Creator. From Classic, especially because it's on this side of the rocks, it's also looking like a Stargate as well. Are we going to mirror each other? Huh. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. As we're waiting for the Cyber Course to finish up, and there it is. It is going to be a proxy Robo out of Classic and a proxy Stargate out of Creator. And this is where I'm a little bit concerned. I'm really curious to see how this dynamic plays out. This used to be the standard. We used to see proxy Stargate against proxy Robo so often. So with this, we're going to have an Oracle zooming towards the mineral line, and we're going to be looking to cripple the economy. If Classic doesn't have a shield battery ready, then he is going to lose a lot in the main base. Meanwhile, this proxy Robo, because of its location and because we have adepts on the way, this looks almost like, I'm curious if this is going to be a Prism first before the Immortal. If we go for a Warp Prism first, we can actually ferry these adepts into the main base. So I'm curious how hard we commit. But a proxy Robo typically indicates a 1-base all-in at a Classic. Creator, he's just looking for economic damage. There it is. Oracle's on the way. Immortal in production for Classic. Adepts are going to be threatening Shades. We do have a Creator here on the right-hand side, setting up for potentially even a proxy of his own, a proxy pylon of his own. Adepts, they do threaten their Shades towards the main base. Immortal's still on the way. We do have a shield battery. Oh, let's go. Classic. He shades into the main base as well. Gets into the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down. 2 workers, soon to be 3 and even more. At the same time, Oracle gets into the main. The shield battery isn't done. A couple seconds away from finishing, and it does now finish up, keeping some of these probes alive. We end up trading 3 for 3. Oh. Spoke too soon. Shield battery is running out of energy. So does the Oracle. 4 dead workers against 3. And now Classic can commit to his all-in. The Immortal has arrived. And what do we have at home to defend? We have soon to be a defensive Robo. 2 gateways. Warp gate isn't done. Creator, he's in a lot of trouble. In a lot of trouble here as we're busting up into the main base. Force field gets thrown down. Adept is going to fall as well. Shield battery keeping it alive though. Oh, it's taking so many hits. But eventually it falls. Boys are being pulled. We have the overcharge. Good force field, but we can always juggle away. Good control here out of Classic. The shield battery is running out. Immortal is soon to pop, but by the time it does, it won't have any support. So we do throw down that force field. Pylon under threat as well, looking to depower these gateways. Immortal comes out. Depower one of the gates. This does force Classic back for a minute, but he's up to 2 Immortals. Second gateway goes down. The only production building here is the Robo and that Stargate as well. Down goes the force field. We dive on top of the Immortal. The Immortal is going to go down. It's barely kept alive. Stasis trap into the main. Catches all the probes. Catches the entire mineral line. But Classic, he has too much. Far too much in the main. There's only a couple of sentries remaining. We have another Immortal coming out here for Creator. But it may just be too little too late. There's just too much of an army. The Prism as well to juggle to keep everything alive. The control looking good. 10 workers go down. And the overcharge is putting in a lot of work. The overcharge, he holds on for a moment. But Creator is down to 13 probes. And it looks like Classic just has too much. GG gets called, and Classic will take game number 1. GG. Oh my god. So clearly it is not out of their system. We had a hyper-aggressive series to start things off with Classic versus Creator, and that is going to be continuing here as Classic does take the first game. Again, very unfortunate that Creator happened to be going for a proxy Stargate just because it's production and money that just isn't being invested in defense back at home against an all-in. It's brutal. It's kind of brutal to be in that position. Creator, he just could not keep up with the production of his opponent, was trying to get into his own immortals, of course, but just didn't have enough on the ground, and the Oracle wasn't doing enough either. Counter damage across the map. Again, props to Classic to have the wherewithal to throw down a defensive shield battery, right? That shield battery lasted as long as the Oracle, keeping everything alive. We traded like 4 for 3, but that's a great trade for Classic in that situation. Didn't sustain enough economic damage, and here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Equilibrium, we have the South Korean Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the other South Korean Protoss down in the series, looking to fight back, looking to force the ace patch again. We have for Club NV, Creator. Here we go. Oh, and Classic going for the low ground. Going for the gate expand setup here. Classic going for something very economic, something considered to be unsafe on Equilibrium because there is no ramp leading into the natural, which means once Creator sees this, Classic is basically saying, hey, come at me. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to try to all-in me? Maybe. We'll see. We shall see. So we have a double gate opener here from Creator. Again, Classic setting up for a gate expand. Did go for a faster second gas, so it looks like Classic may go for a Stargate before Nexus. He does have that available to him. Curious how he does pieces together. Cyber cores are on the way. And just trying to get a read on where that second pylon is. And Creator, he is going for a proxy pylon. He hasn't seen anything yet, but he is throwing down his second pylon out on the map, setting up for potentially a one base all-in. The probe is sticking around. This is a prime location for a proxy robo. Classic, aware that the pylon is missing, doesn't really know what's going on. And it looks like Classic is going for the Nexus first. Oh, never mind. Never mind, the Cybercore is finishing up. He did take that faster second gas, and we are going Stargate. Wise choice. Stargate before Nexus, which means Classic can make Void Rays. He can make defensive Void Rays back at home. So he's not too greedy here before T takes that expansion. Meanwhile, Creator goes for a proxy gateway, not a proxy robo. But still is committed. Making as many stalkers as he can. Soon to be laying siege here upon this natural. Again, Creator with that probe scout. He does, of course, confirm the opener. He also saw the Stargate was thrown down a little bit earlier. Creator, he is aware. And we're just doubling down. The turns have been tabled, and Classic is going to be the defender. Shield batteries finishing up. Void Rays on the way. Again, Void Rays, they have their place in PvP, and really they excel here in the early game defensively against Stalker all-ins, or even Immortal. I mean, any kind of all-in, really. They are what you want. Probe does scout the proxy. Classic, he sees the gateway. He immediately throws down a second shield battery. Second shield battery, and a forge as well for cannons. Oh my god. Classic taking this very seriously. He's getting ready at his natural. Void Ray does arrive. We're looking to shut down the first the first Stalker goes down. Ay. Have we overextended? Creator trying to punish this Void Ray. We get one volley off, but we don't deal any hull damage on the Void Ray. Classic, he makes it back just in time. He tops up the Void Ray, deals whole damage to these Stalkers. Cannons are on the way. Again, Classic, he has very limited production. Cannons are ideal in this situation. He gets another Stalker. Just because he has one Gateway, one Stargate to work with against a 3-gating Protoss. Speaking of, that one Gateway is going to go down. It takes a lot of hits. Oh my god, but a second Void Ray has arrived. We punish these Stalkers, take down another one. Gateway goes down. Only Void Rays can be made. Only Void Rays and cannons. Overcharge is popped. And we're going to be committing. Oh, we don't keep the Void Ray alive. But Creator, he's been bleeding out so much. Gets a Sentry. Does get the Sentry in the end. We have 7 Stalkers here for Creator. He warps in a wave of Adepts to shade into the mineral line, to shade past the army. Losing another Stalker. We can't afford to lose. Not like this. Void Ray on its lonesome, going to try and hold on. Adepts, they commit to the shade. They get into the mineral line. They can one-shot workers. They get 2. They get 3. Up. Ooh. And they barely do not get a 4th. As a Classic has been holding onto the front lines with a single Void Ray. Now joined by another Creator. He's expanding behind this. He's attempting to transition. Oh my god, the Void Ray lives! Once again, Classic, he pulls back just in time. Keeping the Void Rays alive. And now we have a Robo on the way. Gateway as well. Immortal production has commenced for Classic, going for a hefty army of Void Ray Immortal. And Classic has held. At this point, he has held Classic ahead in the economy. Creator, he's trying to keep up in the worker count, but he's long distance mining. Classic isn't. Likewise, Creator is a little bit behind when it comes to tech. Sure, he's now working on Blink, which will help, but his opponent is already building up Immortals, already building up Void Rays. So Creator, he's going to have a more mobile, a more flexible army with Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, Classic, in a head-to-head fight, will have a more robust army with just so much DPS available. It's going to hit like a truck. I guess a similar dynamic to like Bio versus Mech in TVT. One is more mobile than the other. Meanwhile, we do see Creator going straight for the third, going straight for the gold. Part of me would have liked to have seen Creator just take the gold as his natural even, but we're working on it nonetheless. A good way to catch back up. Meanwhile, Classic is pushing. Warp Prism is on the way to reinforce. To reinforce the juggle, to control, to micro. Gateway is going to go down. Classic isn't fully aware of what's going on. He does have sentries for a hallucinated scout. There we go. We do need to get a read on what is happening. If Classic does get eyes on this gold, he should be looking to punish it. Hallucination scouts coming in, confirming the gateways. Still no Twilight Council. Likewise, Hallucination confirms the tech. Sees the Twilight Council, sees it researching. We head towards the natural. We get eyes on the Stalkers. We see the Robo as well. We do not see the third base. Classic doesn't know, but it looks like he doesn't care. He's ignoring the third entirely, going straight for that main. Going straight for the natural. Good force fields. Blink is done though. Raider able to avoid that. Able to pull back. Meanwhile, Classic just pushing on forward. Again with 2 Immortals. Now there is a shield battery. Only one though. Second shield battery is just now on the way. We have an overcharge available as well. Creator, he's not quite ready for defending against an attack like this. Oh my god. War Prism does almost expose himself. Classic is checking for the third location. Sees there's nothing there. Doesn't check the gold. He doesn't know. He thinks he's containing a 2-basing player. He's taking his own third behind this. Void Ray barely doesn't go down. And that gold is fully saturated. Is Classic gonna check? He is not. Instead, he backs off. Backs up with the main army. Hallucination should be checking here towards the south. And Creator, he has gotten away with this gold. Meanwhile, Classic, he backs off. He's working on his own blink on +1. The game is going to be settling from here, and Classic, I'm sure, going to be... Oh, no, does he check? Please. Oh my god, he doesn't check the gold. Checks the linear third once again. Sees the army. So Creator, he does take an economic lead. Hasn't taken the Rich Vespine Gas Geyser, unfortunately. Taking a 4th base as well. Now what's important is that in a head-to-head fight, I still want to favor Classic's army. Like with the Void Rays, with the Immortals, with +1, now +2 is on the way. I'm a little bit surprised to see that Creator, his own Forge upgrades are so delayed. He's on +0. It's going to be down an entire upgrade for quite some time. Does see the location of the main army. He's going to rotate around. Gold base now being taken by Classic. Creator, he barely does miss it. And we're getting into a longer game. Let's go. Hallucinations are moving out, but we do deny them. We deny one at least. The other heads towards the gold. We see the pylon, we see the mining as well. We're now aware of what's been going on. Sees the gold base already saturated, sees the 4th on the way. Now Classic knows what's been happening. He understands. And we're pushing. We are moving out. Do you have additional Immortals on the way? I believe the Templar Archives did finish up. No, sorry, just on the way here for Creator, getting towards those Archons. We can see that Classic is just getting his 3rd up and running. I think this is a wise choice, especially considering that it was a late scout of the gold. It's already, like, fortified. Like, at this point, it's not vulnerable anymore. At this point, Creator, he's up in army supply because he has been able to reap the rewards of this base. Going for a mass gateway composition. So Classic has to take a more defensive position instead. Hoping to catch some of these units. Oh, some of this army. Gets a couple of Stalkers. Oh, but the blink is punished. We do barely pick up four of those Stalkers. Hard pick up from Classic. Likewise from Creator. The counterplay. So we do rotate around. No Archons available for Classic, and we are going for a Zealot heavy composition. We dive on the army. Immortals looking exposed. We do juggle it back. Void Ray is going to go down. Creator breaking through the right-hand side, but we have a massive warp in. These Immortals are doing so much in the backline for Classic. He's pushing into a concave, though. He does break through. Dives on top of the Immortal. Breaks through the backbone of Creator's army. There's only Stalkers left. And remember, Classic has +2. Creator only has +1. We dive on the Prism. Is it barely going to be enough? The Immortals, they stand strong. We're breaking through. We get another warp in. Up. Oh my god. An extra warp in from both players. That was a pretty costly fight for both Classic and Creator. Both players with a pretty comparable economy. What's important is the power units that survived. Creator, he lost all of his Archons and he lost all of his Immortals as well. Meanwhile, Classic kept 2 Immortals, 3 Immortals alive even. My god. They do live to fight another day. Classic did have a stronger trade as a result, a better trade. And he's working on +3 again, perpetually ahead in upgrades. His Creator is still working on +2. We have the War Prism making its way towards the main. Stalkers, they're in position.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Oh my god. War Prism does get trapped. Speaking of, this War Prism is going to go down. Just barely. Barely does get sniped. I believe that finally we have a Templar Archives for both players, for both Creator and Classic. And something that Classic was desperately missing in that last fight were Archons. He needed some kind of splash damage to deal with the Zealots of Creator. Archons are now on the way. Ooh, Creator, taking up even further, going towards disruptors. That's a second Robo and a Bay. Creator trying to take up towards those Purification Novas. That would be a good way to kind of counteract this high Immortal count, just because Immortals are so immobile. They have a really hard time avoiding Purification Novas. Without a Warp Prism, of course. Creator has to be very careful with these Stalkers. Doesn't want to throw them away. Does have to respect the army of Classic. As +3 is done for Classic, +3 is not on the way for Creator. Ooh, he is forgetting that upgrade. Again, prioritizing Disruptors instead. Classic pushing on forward, rotating towards the south. He will find a Nexus. Oh. Will force a cancel. War Prism almost does go down. Classic does rotate around. Nova goes up. Oh god! Massive connection on the Zealots. Big connection here from Creator. And he can collapse on this army. He has built up his Immortal count, his Archons as well, going for a big surround. Nova goes up. Barely does graze one of the Immortals. But you can see that Classic's actually breaking through on the left-hand side. He's getting on top of the Immortals as well of his opponents. Immortals are being focused down. Likewise, the Immortals looking exposed as well. Another Nova goes off. The Immortals go down. Classic bleeding out too much. Yeah, he's being chased away. Massive Nova connects once again. Classic losing almost every single one of his Stalkers, losing his entire army. And now is the time. Now is the time for Creator to push out. Is going for a massive counterattack. Has more Disruptors on the way. Looking at the units tab, what do we have left? 3 Disruptors here for Creator. No Immortals left from his opponents. We have a Dark Shrine. A bit of a desperation move here from Classic. Going for the DTs. As he is down 40 supply. Here we go. Creator, he does push forward. Takes down a couple of workers. Engages with the army. Still down in upgrades. Has to be careful. Never goes up. So it's back Classic. Never's only killing workers. 7 probes going down. Creator, though, he's gaining ground here, pushing towards that Nexus. Another 2 Disruptors arrive. Good target firing here from Classic. Gets the Disruptor, but we dive on the army. Overcharge is popped. Shield battery's going to be going down. Nova does connect here once again. Oh my god. Classic taking so many Novas to the face. Not like this. The better upgrades though, looking at the units tab. I mean, Classic, he has a comparable Stalker army. He's picking up Stalker after Stalker. Oh my god, they keep connecting. They keep connecting. In comes another wave of Zealots as well. Creator keeping the momentum up. Forcing back Classic. The Dark Shrine has finished. The Dark Shrine has completed, and we're going for a warp in into the main base. We have DTs. Novas are going to be going up. Creator, he shuts down the main army. Creator, he also has observers with his main army as well. At the same time, tech is falling. We're going to be depowering everything in the main. No more reinforcements. And we're going for the base trade. We're going for the base trade. We have 17 Stalkers here for Creator. We have 6 for Classic and a handful of DTs. We're going for the natural. And Creator, he can always recall. He can always recall back home. But he doesn't want to yet. He needs to kill more bases. There's still the gold. There's still the third. And there we go. He does recall back home. Does go for the recall. DTs are going to be going ham. These Stalkers are going down. The detection a little bit too far back. Oh, Creator, he loses half of his army. This is like the ideal situation for Classic. Half the army got recalled, half the army goes down. Classic trading very efficiently. He's pushing on forward. Overcharge is popped. Cannon's trying to keep these DTs alive. The juggling, though, keeping the Dark Templar. Oh, they do survive. Cannons are depowered. There's no detection. There's one cannon here at that gold base. And I'm getting a little bit more concerned for Creator because he has no production. Classic has been warping in. He's building up his army. He has an economy. He has production. He has been reinforcing. Creator hasn't. He can't warp in at all. The gateway's just now being repowered. Creator, we need some reinforcements as the bases are going down. Detection has arrived. We take down the DT. Again, looking at the units tab, remember that we have these disruptors coming in. Immortal gets caught out. Immortal goes down. Nova goes up. Doesn't connect. It does miss. The armies are going to be engaging. If Classic wanted to, he could try to snipe those observers, but he goes for the army instead. We have repowered these gateways. We dive on top of the disruptor. Disruptor goes down. Observer as well. There's 3 observers left. There's 2. There's 1. No shot. Do we have detection? No detection for Creator. I mean, it may not even matter. The main army may just be too much anyway. We go for the DTs. There's no way to deal with them. No shot. Classic. He took like 5 Novas to the face this game. Like, Creator was fighting well. He was doing so well here. Oh my god. Not like this. What did it come down to? The base trade from Classic. The killer instinct to go for the one way to come back in this game. Depowering all the production for so long as well. We have to recall back home. And here we go. The final fights of the game. One way or another. It's going to end here. Again, still no detection. Oh, sorry. There is one observer. There is one observer, but there are just so many Stalkers. And again, these are 3-1 Stalkers against the 2-0 of Creator. It looks like Classic has done it. He breaks the natural. And he can just contain. He doesn't even have to push in, but he will. He will just blink up into the main base. Goes for the fight. Doesn't even care. And he will be able to break through. Oh my god, Creator, he was ahead in this game. He was ahead. GG gets called. Classic with the comeback. He does take game number 2 and the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god, GG, well played. Creator, he did so well. He got away with the golds, right? The gold base was unscouted. He got away with it. He had the better economy. He had the better tech. Obviously, Classic had the upgrades, but when it came to the fight before the base trade, like, Creator, he just completely shut Classic down. He got the surround. He cleaned up the Immortals, the Archons, big Novas, big Purification Novas. But in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the beginning of the base trade, Classic, he went straight for the production, made sure that we couldn't reinforce, and yeah, the DTs work wonders. Not just the DTs, I should also praise the control, the micro of Classic, because he was doing a really good job, if you remember, in the middle of the base trade, preserving his units, and blinking, and using the War Prism to just juggle and micro his harder and preserve his units as well, just trade as efficiently as possible. I think the moments when things slipped out of favor of Creator was the recall, the very first recall during the base trade. If you remember, he recalled like half his Stalkers back home, and the army was waiting for him, and he just got completely shut down. He did not trade well at all. He lost half his Stalkers almost for free, and in that moment, that's when everything swung in favor of Classic. It's like, oh, oh no, like what just happened? Like everything was going so well. GG. Congratulations to Classic, as again, in the midst of all the chaos, he does come out victorious, does take the 2-0, and my condolences to Creator. The ace match was within his grasp, and I'm not saying he would have won the series, but was in a commanding position here in this game at least. Did find himself ahead. He was up 40 supply, almost 50 army supply when he was pushing out. It's like it was crazy. GG. GG, Papi. PvP, proxy versus proxy. Exactly. Classic is great in chaos, so it's true. Yeah. I mean, he thrives in the chaos, you know. That's just the kind of player he is. Very aggressive player, and I'm sure he's very comfortable in that scenario. It's very much so comfortable. Creator, maybe a little bit less so, and with that, that is our final series here of the night, as we do switch our scenes over and have a look at all of our matches here. As from the top, we had, yeah, I guess twice here in one night. Classic did take down Creator 2-0, advancing on to the winners match. We had Dark doing the same to Bunny. Dark was the first to advance out of this group in first place, and Classic was the second. We almost had an ace match there between Classic and Creator, but regardless, really good matches were had here tonight, and congratulations to both Dark and Classic for advancing on. My condolences to Creator and Bunny. Again, a big fan of Creator. Like, Creator, he's a really easy player to get behind, a very emotional player, very wholesome player as well. So yeah, much love to Creator, as unfortunately he does bow out in the round of 8. Ooh, and yeah, with that was an intense night of StarCraft. We casted Group A last week. We just wrapped up with Group B, and we have our confirmed players for the semis and eventually the finals. We won't be covering the semis and the finals. Those were of course covered by State and Tasteless over on Africa. And we just wanted to cover the group stage. The group stages at least. We covered the round of 16 and we covered the round of 8. Of course, for those that were maybe curious, these are replay casts from a couple of weeks ago for GSL, and yeah, the semifinals and finals were played out, and again, really good matches were had. I'm sure really good matches were had. I didn't get to I did intentionally not watch GSL because I knew that we would be casting it here on the CranKy Ducklings, so I'm just catching up with everything, and yeah, really good matches, really good games. GG. Again, we were supposed to cast this before ESL Masters, but ESL Masters kind of snuck up on us, and we, of course, were the B stream for ESL Masters Winter, and we were also co-streaming the main stream as well, and things got really intense, and we had a lot of casting to do, so we had to kind of put GSL on the back burner, but I'm really happy that we got to keep up with it and got to catch up, and really good games. really entertaining games. GG. And if you're curious, if you want to support GSL, !GSL in the chat, as you will get a link to the Patreon of the Global StarCraft League. If you're curious, you can of course gain access to the replays yourself. You can even gain access to some behind the scene interviews, some photo shoots. They have a bit of content there available to you if you want, if you wish, for patrons of the GSL. So they got you covered. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for the support. Our next broadcast should be tomorrow. We're going to be casting the Kung Fu Cup. Kung Fu Cup is going to be upon us in less than 24 hours, or I say that, in 23 hours. In 23 hours time, we're going to be live with Kung Fu Cup. That's going to be a live cast, not a replay cast. And on Thursday, we're going to have a replay cast of ESL Open Cup Asia. So ESL Open Cup Asia was yesterday, and we were casting it live yesterday, but we had some connectivity issues, and we ended up lagging out, and I didn't want to be a burden to the players, so we ended the stream early last night. So we missed out on the semis and we missed out on the finals. But I will gain access to those replays, and we'll be doing a catch-up stream to make up for what we missed out on Thursday. So that's our current goal. And a quick PSA after we wrap up here on the CranKy Ducklings. Starting this weekend, it's a little bit short notice, is what I will say. Very short notice, but it's here, it's happening. There weren't any qualifiers, only invites. But this weekend is Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A weekend full of StarCraft, a weekend full of quality games, you know. And Home Story Cup is special because it's not just about the games, it's about the atmosphere, seeing everyone come together, the community, the players, the casters, everyone just having a great time together. Sometimes getting a little bit drunk and hungover in the middle of the tournament, but some of those players, but having a good time nonetheless. And yeah, so look forward to it. Look forward to Home Story Cup this weekend. Home Story Cup 24, I want to say. I think it's number 24. So definitely keep your eye out for that. Going to be a great time, of course, at a European friendly time slot. If you're out there, it's at an awful time for myself. I'm here in Australia, and it's at like, I think it starts at like 10 p.m. and it ends at like 7 a.m. It's not good. It's not good, Pappy. It's not good. I'm usually willing to ruin my sleep schedule for something like Home Story Cup. The problem is that I have casting to do. Like I have like we have our own casts to do, so they take priority. Over the weekend is going to be KSL. There's going to be another Future show match. I believe it's Future versus Cham and Future versus, let me just double check. Future versus Cham and Future versus Strange. So that's going to be on Sunday, I believe. It's going to be on the final day of Home Story Cup. So we are going to be going over some, we are going to be casting some show matches. There's also a Hatchery Cup going on as well. That's a lot. There is a lot of StarCraft going on over the weekend on top of just Home Story Cup. So if you want to support us, !socials, follow us on, we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook. If you want to support us, follow us on Twitch and YouTube as well. We have a YouTube channel we upload on a daily basis, so if you are unsatiated, if you want some more content, and if you're like, I can't wait for the next live cast, YouTube, VODs. We have literally thousands of VODs on YouTube. It's crazy. Because we cast so much and we upload everything to YouTube, so it's all there at your fingertips, if you wish. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I hope everyone had a great time here. Hope you all enjoyed the matches and enjoyed the games. And stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft stream a raid. Just need to find someone to raid. I'll find someone. Also, if you want to follow myself, light_VIP, I stream over on my own personal channel. I do some ladder sessions, I play some Final Fantasy, or sometimes some other games, some Diablo. I still have yet to finish Diablo. I was playing it with Asher, and we'll see what happens. But light_VIP, you can find me there if you're interested. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some KFC, for some Kung Fu Cup. See you then. That's how they go. Bye.